Now we're live, and welcome to Xbox Nation Podcast, temporarily renamed PlayStation Nation Podcast for the night. Actually, there is some interesting, we will talk a little bit about Xbox, but obviously with the biggest news being the PlayStation event that was held earlier, and a lot of people were excited about this, including myself. I was very excited. I was like, hey, let's see what they got. I was even speculating that they would talk Mooch into getting a PlayStation.
Hold on a second. Wait, before you go any further, I want to just take a minute and thank this orchestra, huh? Everybody, wait, before we get
Wait, Crap said it was going to be slower, so it was supposed to be...
the slow clap's for later in the evening. This is just, we've got it. I was wondering, I thought maybe what in the world could have saved today? What could it have been? And that's it, a 50 man and woman piece orchestra would have made today. Mwah, huh?
Well, I just want to say this, Mooch. Like, I know a lot of people are like dying to hear your take on it, but I just want to say, for those that didn't catch it, some of the highlights or lowlights or what they were. Okay, PS4 Slim officially announced, so now that means Sony can unstrike a lot of the YouTube channels that showed pictures of that and stuff, which they probably will. That's $299. No 4K Blu-ray player. They took out the optical drive. I think it only has 2 USB hubs, I believe. The PS4 Pro, as it's called, the Neo is now officially known as the Pro, is $399. Only has, I know for a fact, 2 USB hubs, and it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player, which is beyond strange to me. Sony also tried to push the HDR thing, right? Like, unbelievable HDR push. They're like, HDR. It reminded me of years ago when they were pushing that 3D narrative where they're like, 3D, and you could play a drinking game. Like, every time they say it, take a shot. But this was like, HDR, it's going to be great. HDR. In fact, HDR, some HDR, and we like some HDR with our HDR. And it was like, all this crazy, you guys don't even like that joke? Come on.
Oh,
Man.
were we supposed to?
Yeah.
There was a joke?
Come on. You're killing me. Yeah, come on. At least force a laugh. Yeah.
Here you go.
There we go, see? But anyway, yeah, so they're like HDR this and HDR that, and they're like, starting next week, every PS4 is going to have HDR, but they conveniently leave out that the PS4 old school, and I believe even the Slim, can't do native HDR because of the pass-through or something like that. Somebody had tweeted me that information. So it's not true HDR, and there's 0 games out right now that support HDR. Now, at this conference, Sony did talk about a couple games that are going to be HDR support, but if they're HDR support on PlayStation platforms, they're going to be HDR support on Xbox One S as well. And they had 2 people talk at this thing. They had Andrew House with his helium intake. Like he inhaled like a bunch of balloons before he went on. So they had him talking at first, and then they had Mark Cerny talking, who literally like put me to sleep. I was just like bored to tears. Like, and you can tell I think they picked him to do the explaining so that it was very monotone and so that it would, I don't know, maybe like because he explained it like you would explain something to a 5-year-old. You know what I mean? It was like,
oh, that was Mark Cerny?
Yes, yeah. Mark Cerny.
I thought that was Dana Carvey doing a church lady from SNL. Oh.
No, that was Mark Cerny, and he was boring. It was just he was incredibly boring, and he was like taking everybody to HDR school. He's like HDR this, HDR that. And here's the thing, they were very odd with how they were announcing things because they're like 4K, 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 and then they're like, yeah, we're going to do these unbelievable rendering techniques. We're going to use temporal reprojection and checkerboard rendering and unbelievable. It's going to look great on your 4K TV, but they never said native 4K gaming, and they never said 4K Blu-ray. So remember, Mooch, how I said looking over the documents, there's no mention of a 4K Blu-ray player, right?
Right.
That turned out to be the case. No 4K Blu-ray player. The specs, sorry to say, PlayStation fanboys, they weren't bumped. You guys got that 4.2 teraflops. You got that same Jaguar CPU.
Can I just come out to say that Jaguar CPU really fucks it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's bad. It's not a good thing.
That really messes it up. I mean, the Jaguar CPUs are outdated.
Yeah. Well, and this is the thing. If you watch it, they really skirt over the specs. Right? They skirt completely over the specs. They're like, here, yeah, it's double the GPU. We upclocked the CPU, and we got 8 gigs GDDR5, and we've got 1 terabyte hard drive for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I've yet to even be able to find specs on what the the upclocking on the CPU is even going to be.
Well, it's the same ones that we all saw.
Yeah.
Those are the official specs.
Oh, right, but like, there's no website out right now that says public knowledge that has that on here. I'm looking all over the place.
Yeah, that's a little bit weird. But also, they also talked about and I'm going to let everybody else talk. Don't worry, I'm just like filling in everybody in case you're just tuning in or just heard about this. The interesting thing, because we all heard, well, we're going to have better graphical fidelity. And if you watch BGST, you know, Next Gen 720 is like better graphics, better graphic fidelity. But we now know that basically it's the same exact textures, only upscaled. So it's the same game, same everything, just upscaled. So, and they showed off, Rise of the Tomb Raider. They showed off Mass Effect Andromeda. And they showed off. They're like, "Hey, Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare."
We've already had Jay Hoft on Crossfire, and he when he got the Xbox One S, he had written me and he had said on the show that Rise of the Tomb Raider was the game he actually specifically pointed out looks already better on a 4K TV playing on what is the Xbox One S. The Xbox One S gives you the 4K Blu-ray drive that you want. It gives you HDR gaming. Of course, all of this is also encompassed with the TV, which I'd like to say a couple of things here. Okay, don't ever tell me there is no media bias again, because if you do, you just get a block, because there's really no reason to even talk to you, because you don't have anything in that skull of yours. Here's the problem. You've got the PS4 Neo, a.k.a. now the PS4 Pro, coming
Sounds like a freaking gym membership.
without a 4K Blu-ray player. Like, that's insane to say something like that. And now that Sony says HDR in their press conference, now HDR is real. Polygon did an HDR segment today, and I believe Kotaku did one.
I don't mean to cut you off, Mooch, but talking about the HDR... Why would you even need to actually go and buy like the Slim or the Pro or whatever now? Because they're even bringing the whole like compatibility update to your regular PS4. So is there even really a purpose to go and get the Slim?
It's not going to be that true HDR, I don't think, because I don't think the PS4 vanilla has that. What do they have? A 1.4?
Yeah, they don't have the pass-through or whatever to do true HDR. That's the reason why the Xbox One launches can't do HDR, right? It has to do with that.
Yeah.
So
let's put it this way: if Sony gets if for some reason, some magical way, the PS4 vanilla gets it, Microsoft can press a big red button and they can make it appear on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen though, because Sony wants you to buy the Slim. They said that, but it's not going to happen. They also said that you were going to get like your name changed on, and then it showed.
I was just going to say that.
There's a lot of different things that Sony says they're going to do. They don't. Listen, they can say whatever. They can make all these promises. They don't have to deliver. You have the right. They'll be like, you have the right to return your PS4. I'm sorry, we're not doing that yet. So they make all these vague promises. This is what Sony does. It's the same thing like when you passed by the stores last year at Christmas time and you saw Star Wars Battlefront, and then they put exclusively on PlayStation. But what you had to look at in the fine print was these next few DLC clips. You know what I mean? Like, not the game. But if somebody says, hey, that's false advertising, they're like, no, it's not. It's right there. There's a magnifying glass dangling from that little at. You just pick it up and read the fine print on the bottom of his feet. And you're like, oh, shit, I didn't see that. Like, they always do these little manipulative things. And here's my other point with the biased media. Where was the media today? I've been watching, okay, IGN, all these guys. Nobody was like, excuse me, Andrew House, in your best Lollipop Kids impersonation, could you please tell us more about 4K TVs and HDR? And does that mean I need a TV now? Do I need another television set? We asked Phil Spencer for 4 months. We're going to ask you now for... No. It's fine. Just go buy a PS4 Pro, and if you have a TV that's 1080p, the media is not going to let you know it's not okay, like they did with the S and the Scorpio. They were like, you have to go buy a television now. Microsoft's impacting a television sale. It's nonstop bias. You can see the damage control that was. If anybody watched the IGN pre-show, you almost got sick to your stomach with these. It was almost like listening to children just before Christmas. Literally, they were just like, and who do you think's gonna come? And that Brian Altano's like, we have to see some big third-party devs, right? Like we've got to see like maybe Red Dead 2, or we got to see something like Titanfall, or we got to see some devs come out on stage, right? It's got to be something huge. And they're like, yeah, it's amazing. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. You know, and at the end of the show, they were like, Max Scoville comes on because I think the other guy got sick to his stomach. He left, and he comes on and he's like, we didn't really see anything we were talking about. And they were like, no, we didn't. Like, but it's amazing to me. This is going to be a fun couple of months for everybody. Sit back, get your popcorn ready, because now you get to watch everybody that does gaming media literally have to vomit in their mouth, swallow it, and regurgitate something else for you.
Hey, Mooch, I just want to. Okay, that was a good image, but I just wanted to say, you know, it's really funny because you know your buddy Destin tweeted out something. He was like, it's great to see like this is what I see because I agree there's media bias, but I also see that some people maybe see the writing on the wall that this tide is kind of turning.
Oh, so you don't want to call it media bias? There's another name for that. It's called flip-flopper. But go ahead.
Well, okay, yes. Okay. Thanks for correcting me, Mooch.
No problem.
M&C mornings, folks. Anyway, yeah, so basically, like Destin Legary, right? We know that he was all like blocking the people with the Scorpio symbol and things like that. Now he's like, so great to see Microsoft come firing back. Quarters, you know, fourth quarter 2016, fourth quarter 2017. It's very exciting. And then, like I said, I was saying pre-show how I was on M4G, and one article already up is why Sony now finds themselves in the same position Xbox was back in 2013. Basically because, like what you said and like what I've said, and probably a lot of people say, you know, Sony left that conference with more questions than answers. So they people were like, when you get done and you announce new products, right? Here's a PS4 Pro, you know, whatever makes it Pro, but you know, and people are confused as to whether it will do native 4K. Well, first of all, I don't think that was a mistake. They wanted to confuse people into thinking it does native 4K. In fact, the Deus Ex Mankind Divided people just tweeted out, starting on November 10th or whatever it is, Deus Ex Mankind Divided in 4K on PS4 Pro, right? I mean, it's not going to be native 4K. It's upscaled 4K.
Or you know what I mean? Or it may very well be native, but your fucking graphical fidelity is going to be shit, which then basically just gnaws out the whole point of having fucking higher resolution.
Yeah, I mean, well, they even talked about it. Like, they never once said 4K. They said temporal upscale, up temporal resolution and things like that. I mean,
spent 5 minutes on that crap, like just explaining like their new rendering techniques and all this other stuff, just to you know, push their whole 4K thing. But it's not going to be native. It's going to be upscaled and stuff. Kind of like, you know, Quantum Break and all that kind of stuff with the temporal, you know, rendering techniques and stuff like that. Yeah.
So for you guys that don't know what Quantum Break did, a lot of people were like, Quantum Break 720p, and what happened was some of the stuff was 720p. The lighting or the whatever, and then like the main image was 1080. So that's why they're like, okay, well, it's 1080p. And remember how the media and gamers just tore that to shreds. They're like, wow, you know, they're awful. Somebody wants to know what She-Wolf thought about the hardware rendering techniques. What did you think, She-Wolf?
Honestly, I think it's all just like, it's misinterpretation, and I really wish they would have actually spent the conference speaking about the actual consoles themselves. We kept seeing a whole bunch of game reels of like multiplayer games to top it off. They didn't even really stick to like exclusive games that are going to be taking full advantage of whatever they're planning on bringing. And you know, a perfect example of that is actually God of War. That's supposed to be one of their biggest titles that's coming out, and yet we didn't even see it. We saw more Call of Duty than we actually saw of anything else. And even when they showed, we were talking about this earlier, when they showed Horizon, that game, it was lagging. Like, it was literally like skipping through, and you know, like you said, there was screen tearing and everything, and you're telling me that's what I'm getting because this was supposed to be running on the Pro. So
Yeah, and it wasn't even a live demo. That's the funny part, right?
Mhm.
So these aren't live demos, but if you look at the Mass Effect Andromeda, that game had a lot of screen tearing and issues with that as well. And then as well as, like you said, Horizon, which I thought those games looked good already, you know what I mean? But I don't know, they were just kind of pushing it. And then they kind of mislead people with that HDR stuff, because now it's totally coming out that, the 1.4 or whatever that's in the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Fat, or they don't support HDR. So how can, it's not like...
Listen, I said this to Zaire on BGST. I've said it for numerous weeks now. When you get home and you plug in your oversized Kit Kat bar, and you actually look at it and you say, now, what do I do with this $500 machine, or excuse me, this $400 machine? What do you do with it once it's plugged in and it's in your home? Are you really that excited to go put NAC back in? Or maybe, what are you going to do?
Upscaled NAC.
But my point is, why would you go? I said this, it's dead on day one. The Pro is dead on day one. You've got the Scorpio coming out in 12 months, maybe 10 months after this thing launches. At that point, this system is already obsolete. And you've got Sony saying that the vanilla PS4 might get HDR. My point being is just that, like, why would you buy this?
You know what? I don't know. And actually, what's funny is EA came out and said that Mass Effect Andromeda is only going to be 1080p 30 frames per second on the PS4 Pro. So that's,
there you go.
I mean, yeah, that's weird too, because I would imagine that Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be anywhere between 720 and 900p 30 frames on Xbox One that we have right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's probably why they're not pushing it that far, is because they have to put it on so many different other consoles. So
yeah,
they're not gonna. And that's what we're gonna see, like when third parties and stuff, when the Scorpio and everything's fully out, like you're gonna see third parties not take advantage of the power and stuff, because they have to make it for both these consoles, and they're gonna make it for the lowest common denominator. Which, I'm sorry, all the Sony fans out there, it's gonna be the Neo.
Yeah. Well, I think it's gonna be an interesting kind of time, and that was just a really bad conference. Like, I can't overstate that.
What did you think, like, too, Crap? Because, like, he literally started, like, he's like, hey, here we are, blah, 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 glad to have you here. He's like, oh, here's the Slim. Oh, let's throw that up fucking thing right now. Let's put 4K and HDR on there. And then we spent 30 minutes, having a lesson on HDR. I felt like I had to take notes because there was going to be a test at the end.
We were gonna have a test at the end of this.
I don't know how anyone could take notes listening to that guy. Like, oh my god, he sounded like a school teacher.
And I was like, much like everybody else on here, like I was actually excited to see what Sony was going to bring to compete with Scorpio, and they literally hardly ever talked about Scorpio. They just talked about HDR and 4K and this, that, and the other. And I just wanted to see games running on the Neo because it's coming out in November.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing, right? I mean, and you're right, exactly, GKB. It's going to be just like when we started out this generation with the Xbox One and the PS4. Everything's going to be built for the lowest common system. So, unfortunately, even though the lowest common denominator would technically be the Pro or whatever the hell it is, the real lowest common denominator is going to be the Xbox One and PS4.
True.
And a lot of third parties are just going to build for that, because look, there's going to be a lot more standard PS4s and Xbox Ones out in the wild than there will be Pros or Scorpios out there.
But the other thing we're not talking about, because tonight is definitely a discussion about the Pro, let's break down the other item that was for sale today by Sony. That's the PS4 Slim. A $299, which we have to do dollar for dollar. The competitor is the Xbox One S. And let's just break it down. 4K Blu-ray player,
nope.
Check on the Xbox, no check on PlayStation. You've got HDR gaming. They're saying they're going to give you some phony type of HDR on PS4. It's not going to be what you think it is, because it doesn't line up right with the ports, API, etc.
Real quick there, Mooch,
Go ahead.
touch on your point there, is if they're touting like the old PS4s or the original PS4s are going to have this HDR support, how come they weren't showing any of that on the screen there, saying, hey, look, you guys will get this? I think it's just more smoke and mirrors, honestly.
It is, and the whole thing is smoke and mirrors today. I mean, it literally, that's why they talked fast through their specs. It was a 45-minute. Listen, you have new hardware, 2 pieces of new hardware, right? They have no software to show. It was a 45-minute show. And in part, it was because Andrew House and what's his name, Mark Cerny, sounded like they were on Ritalin. Like they both were like, and now if you kind of follow me over here.
You know what?
I never
what
knew
he
here had that
sounded
many E's.
Here's an exact perfect example of what he sounded like when we were all trying to follow the YouTube rule regulation and we were all being nice and polite and like talking softly. That's how he sounded throughout the whole entire show.
Well, they're on stage like, hey, this is our new product. This is coming out in a couple of months. And you think they'd be at least excited on stage to be like, look at what we got, blah, blah, blah. But no, it was like they were about to go die, and I don't know what was going on.
Yeah.
It was funny because I was like, people were linking me like reactions to like these big time like PlayStation YouTubers and stuff, and looking at their reactions was priceless.
It was.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know if you got sent some of these too, Mooch, but I was watching this one where this dude was like, yeah, I don't know, that was a weird conference. Like, totally. You know, like, I don't know, I'd give it maybe, you couldn't give it more than a 6, but maybe a 5? You know what I mean? Like, people were upset with this, and it's very interesting to see kind of the flip-flop mentality that's going on right now, because
I really expected to see more. Like, I really thought they were going to kind of go more detailed into actually showing the consoles than just showing the games and trying to talk up something that wasn't actually there. And, even when they did show them, nobody clapped. Wait, sorry, one person did. My bad.
I was waiting for the clap. I was like, is that Mooch with the slow clap?
That was the slow clap in there.
Yeah.
It was literally... Nobody was surprised. And then he picks it up, and it's the biggest thing ever. It's like, can someone please tell me exactly what are you trying to offer people? And it's only 1 terabyte.
If you drop that thing on somebody, it's gonna really hurt them. Like, I just think that it's it would really like do some damage.
To me, this whole thing just screams this was designed for PlayStation VR, not to compete, graphically, as far as just standard games go.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just love this comment that this Mike guy said. He said, crap, can you call it the Big Mac Pro?
Yeah, the Big Mac Pro, right? That's what this thing is, and it's people are like, well, it's really well priced, and I'm like, is it for what though? Honestly, I don't see it, especially like if you're sitting there and looking at both these at one of these things for $399 or the $299, which actually you can get a $50 off right now, so $50, $250 for a 4K Blu-ray player, native HDR, streaming, all that stuff. I would go with the Xbox One because it's going to upscale to 4K anyway, which we had Rand on earlier, and he was like, wow, I played Destiny in 4K. It looks fantastic. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's not just like what people thought that like the upscale, like, remember all the crap that Microsoft got because Rise was 900p, and everybody's like, oh, well, it's upscales anyway. There's really good upscalers and stuff on it, and the same thing with the S. So these aren't just like a regular picture where you would just blow it up so it looks bad. There's a little bit more involved into it than that. You know what I mean? Because that would look bad. That's why these things have the upscalers on board with them, because you can play an Xbox One launch on a 4K TV and it will upscale because the TV has an upscaler, but it's not as good. So I always thought that was.
I do want to bring something up, Crap. You always bring his name up, and I refrain from it because I like to. It is what it is, and it is the past. But there was something that our good friend Insider X said on the show a while ago, and you shot him down like an F-16 and going over the 30-second parallel. Listen, I will say this though. He made a comment, and I want everyone to just think about it before we all harp on it. He said. And he said at the time, this was his faux pas, he said the Xbox One that we currently have was going to compete with the Neo. Now, where he was wrong was he didn't never mention on any of his tweets that there was going to be an Xbox One S. But the Xbox One S is still, as we've said multiple times in multiple weeks here, is the new flagship, is the new Xbox One. And ultimately, okay, take this with a grain of salt, we can break it down, but the Xbox One S does very much compete with the the PS Pro, PS4 Neo, whatever it was back then. So my point being is, it does, because it has 4K, it upscales 4K. Granted, the Pro, it's going to take me a while to get used to Pro, not Neo.
Yeah.
The Pro has of course, the teraflops and the GPU impressive upclocking that we knew was going to be coming down the pipe that the Xbox One S doesn't have. But really, when it comes down to it, if you have yourself a 4K HDR TV and you plug in your Pro and you have your Xbox One in each of the HDMI ports, and you go back and forth between a game like Destiny or a game like Batman Arkham Knight, I beg you to see the difference. I bet you don't. And in all reality, it is comical that the $299 Xbox One S, ladies and gentlemen, actually competes and beats the PS4 Slim for the same price and competes with the Pro. That is amazing. And now you know that when the Scorpio comes out next year, that truly is the next step. If Microsoft wants to call it this generation, so be it. That's up to them. Yeah. That's just a name.
You know what they should do to really stick it to Sony? Call it the Xbox One Pro, right? Because if you look at what Andrew House and them tried to pull off with the PS4 Pro, they were trying to really iterate that it's still this generation, right? It's still a PS4. We're only in the middle of this generation, and it's great. And this is just a PS4 Pro for hardcore gamers, and blah blah blah. Right? Trying to, because they're trying to make their fanboys feel better about having a weaker system. But you just have to face the facts that Xbox Scorpio is still the Xbox One family. And I still think we're going to go back to a normal console cycle. I still think there'll be a PS5, but there'll be a mid-gen in there as well.
That's a great question, Crap. What do you think? What do you guys all think on the panel? When do you think the PS5 will be announced?
Like 2019. I think it'll come out in the holiday 2019.
Yeah, like launch 2019. That. Let me tell you something. If that's coming out holiday 2019, that is a huge kick in the junk to Sony to go 2 years without being able to catch Microsoft.
Yeah.
In the power race.
Oh. I'm gonna throw out there myself the odd opinion here. I don't think that there's gonna be. I still think it's just gonna be the generational leaps and no actual rebranding of this or that, because there's no difference in the hardware. It's all the same shit. You're all still running.
Hellhammer makes a good point. It's not like these huge jumps where we went from the Cell processor to x86. I mean, he does make a good point.
There's no sense to make the generational leaps, right? Like, if I go and buy a computer, right, everything in that computer is there. There's generational leaps, but it's just that. It's a generational leap. It's not a whole new thing. It's still a PC. It's still a Mac. If you go out and buy a Mac, It's still an iPhone. It's still the same basic principle is under the hood.
Yes.
There's no reason to go around changing it.
Right.
People nowadays already have a good enough idea themselves from owning a cell phone, even though I hate to use that analogy.
Yeah.
But they already know, hey, if the iPhone 7 is going to be better than the iPhone 6 for whatever reason,
because it's number 7. That's
right. That's what I'm saying. That's all they need to do is just add generational numbers to the end of it, and people will get the idea.
And they're just slight bump in specs. They're not really important.
That's all they need to do, because if they start releasing another console, there's no reason to sit there and rebrand it, because it's still the same hardware.
Mm-hmm.
If they keep it the same brand, that keeps everybody locked into the ecosystem. That means that there's no chance for them to jump ship either side, because they already have games that'll work on either one.
See, it is interesting that you say that, and in the case of what Sony did, Hellhammer, what you just said fits that mold perfectly. But in the event that Microsoft would have to call it Xbox One Scorpio then, because once they drop the one, then it does change to another iteration, right? Like, Sony would have to say PS4 adjective, or you know what I mean? Like, you'd have to have something. You'd have to have something.
I mean, what I think is going to happen is
before or after the name.
They're going to end up dropping the eventually, and I wouldn't consider it necessarily a generational thing. They're going to end up dropping. I think both companies are going to end up dropping any kind of numeration on it, and it'll just be Xbox and PlayStation with some sort of generational identifier.
Well, I mean, they can keep the number too. I mean, we see it in cell phones. Like, going back, I don't really want to, compare them to the cell phones or anything like that, but it's the same thing that happens in phones. I mean, they still keep the numbers, but it's not that big of a leap each time. It's going to get to a point where they're both on par power-wise and very slight advantages.
Yeah, I mean, you can only go so far in the console race, because you're trying to keep it cheap enough for the average person to go out there and buy, but powerful enough to be able to play the latest games. So, I mean, honestly, that's just how it's going to go. You're going to see small increases. By the time the Scorpio comes out, of course, it's going to dominate anything that the Pro can do whatsoever, because I mean you're looking at 2 teraflop or a little over, potentially more than 2 teraflop power increase just on the GPU side.
Hey, remember how many people were like, PS4, 50% more power? I mean, how many times did we hear that? So if the little difference between what was the original Xbox One, 1.3
something
teraflops,
So like
and
1.5.
no, it was like I think the PS4 is 1.7 or something.
Yeah,
teraflops.
it's 1.7 to 1.8 depending on where you read it.
Yeah. So people were like, that's a huge difference. I mean, if that's a huge difference, what's 4.2 to probably 5 or 6.5 or more? You know what I mean? Like, to me, not only that, but it's also Scorpio is supposed to have 12 gigs of memory, and the Pro doesn't. It only still has the 8. The Pro, the only difference with the Pro is it's this big bulky 20-pound case, right? And it's got.
They just keep slapping those old PS2 cases on top of those things. I don't
get that. Yeah, I don't get the reasoning behind that. But also, what's kind of funny to me is that this Pro, like, you know how when the Xbox One S was announced, it had all these upgrades. Like, to me, that was more impressive. All the stuff that they added in that. Even the controller was Bluetooth enabled and all this stuff, right? The Pro, they didn't come out and go, okay. Well, we've got even a new, slightly redesigned controller that doesn't die in 2.5 hours for you. How about they come out and address the PSN situation? PSN just raised the PlayStation Plus prices, which you need to game online, and it went down completely down 3 times in the last 10 days. Right?
And
how about they
dropped to 2 games for their PlayStation Plus or whatever instead of 3?
Yeah. So, well, yeah.
So what is the deal with the improved controller?
The place there is nothing.
Well, listen,
I thought it was the exact same controller.
No, it's PlayStation just put out a tweet from PlayStation themselves that said, check out our newly redesigned DualShock 4. And I'm like, I wrote to them, I'm like, looks the same to me.
Why didn't they show that then? Like, that's what I mean by they really had a lack of, I guess, their introduction to everything. Like, their presentation of all of it was just lacking. They really, they should have actually done what Microsoft does and actually, like, put the controller up on the screen and actually, did the 360 views and showing exactly what they changed to it to show us that. Or even the other 2 systems and actually show us what they created, but they didn't.
That's because they just didn't want to focus on specs and power, because they knew that they were going to be under what Scorpio is going to be. So they wanted to focus on 4K and HDR and all that kind of stuff. So
they had their transistor moments, and oh my gosh, here's Polygon's tweet. Microsoft wants to be sure to show you how much more powerful Xbox Scorpio will be than PS4 Pro. Like, what is up with Polygon lately? But anyway, just sticking to that a little bit, Microsoft is taking shots a little bit, and I like how the roles have reversed a bit. Like,
kudos to Mike Ybarra.
Yeah, exactly. Not just him, right? But
Larry Herb did a big one.
I didn't see Larry.
Okay, so check this out, and this is on XboxMad.net. You guys can check it out. Aaron Greenberg tweets out over top of the PS4 Pro thing, proud to bring true 4K gaming and most powerful console made, coming with Project Scorpio. And so he tweeted that out because PlayStation 4 Pro can't do native 4K gaming and Xbox Scorpio can. So he tweeted that out. Mikey Barra and even the Xbox Twitter is like, available now. Why wait? You can get native. You can get upscaled 4K gaming, HDR.
Yeah, didn't they keep posting that picture with like the checklist?
Yeah.
Yes, they posted the picture with the checklist, and somebody made a meme, and I love it. You're gonna love this one, Mooch. It's got Adam Boys in it, and the Yoshida one where they're showing you how to share games.
I saw it.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And instead of the games, it's like how to play Ultra HD Blu-ray movies on your Xbox One S, and they Photoshop Larry Herb's head and Phil Spencer's head on there.
I saw it.
So I bet Larry's got to be mad though that he's on Fat Boys' body. But I mean,
he's not happy about that. I can guarantee it.
But yeah, I just thought that was phenomenal. I mean, what are your thoughts? What's everyone's thoughts on Microsoft fighting back?
We said this a while ago. We said that once Microsoft gets the edge, they're not a quiet group. They've just been quietly, because it must, hats off to them for one thing, because you know, like Crap can't keep a secret for a week and a half. You know, he's got, you know, we're working on M&C in the mornings, and what is it? You know, he's like, I gotta tweet this out now. I was able to hold him, I was able to hold him down for 4 days, and then he just did it when he had a couple of beers. But listen, you know, these guys knew that the Xbox One S was in production. They knew it was coming down the pipe. They were having all these meetings with people like Howard and those folks from, you know, the people that made Fallout, dealing with all these big top devs and companies and publishers. And they've had to sit here. And I don't know if you guys remember when we were kids. Remember those big clowns that had a sandbag bottom? You punch them and they come back up every 5 seconds? They had to sit there and take these punches and keep bouncing back up with a smile for the past 2 years, being like, we're working on something, we just can't talk about it.
Ooh, holy crap.
So it's really amazing that they're able to do that.
If you don't mind if I cut in for a minute, Fox actually just sent me something about the controller. She said, according to the information sent over, the latest DualShock 4 allows the light from the light bar to emit the touchpad, making a new luminous line in the same color as that of the light bar.
Which is nothing.
Yeah, just so that it provides the user more visual information, such as which character they control or status of the character's health.
Yeah, I was looking it up too. I was looking at the tech specs of it. It's got the same shitty battery in there, so you got that going for it. So they'll still have that.
This is how much
hour battery life.
This is how much Sony doesn't care about their customer. At least, forget about us, right? We're a panel full of Xbox guys and gals. We're fans of the Xbox. That's fine. But there's people on the PlayStation side that have said, at the very least, could you please up the battery life in this thing? I'm getting tired of playing 2.5 hours, and then I have to either sit 3 foot from it with the cable you gave me, or I have to stop my gaming enjoyment and plug this thing in. The very least you could have done when you went back to the drawing board for your new iteration in the Pro, you couldn't put a better lithium battery in there?
Hey,
I mean,
2.5 hours is giving us some credit, because when I had a PS4, sometimes I would just set the controller down and not play it for a day. Like, I'd fully charge the controller, not play it for a day or two, come back, I'd get like 15 minutes, and maybe like, dying.
Which is really pathetic, because you can go on eBay and you can buy like Chinese base style Xbox rechargeable batteries for like $2 that last like a whole entire day.
Look at how the media has to react. Here's Engadget. Look at this headline. This one's great. PlayStation 4 Pro games look amazing, but don't expect real 4K. What does that? I mean, that's an amazing. They just can't slap them in the face and walk away. They have to say a compliment first.
Yeah.
Like 4K doesn't matter now.
Hey, that's like this, Mooch, right? Like, hey, you're not crazy if you didn't hate the Order 1886.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. After they bashed it, they came back a week later with those great subtitles. Did you feel like we bashed them? We did too. Let's talk about it. And it's like, what? What just happened?
Okay, we're sorry.
Check this out, okay? Listen, Aaron Greenberg tweeted that out. Proud to bring true 4K gaming and most powerful console ever made, coming, blah, blah, blah. He tweeted that out. PlayStation 4 Germany, the official PlayStation 4 Germany account, they subtweeted that. Wow, really? Question mark. Very unprofessional. Like, I really wanted to like spit and rage over this, right? Because I have some of this stuff saved from when the PS4 was doing this stuff to Microsoft all the time. They were like, we use your TV too. They actually tweeted this out for gaming. You know what I mean? They were taking shots because Microsoft showed TV, and then they did all that 1080p stuff about how 1080p makes you a better gamer, and Yoshida tweeted out the difference between 1080p and 720p and all that stuff.
What about the
sharing thing?
Yeah, I was going to say, what about the big mock video that they did?
Yeah, exactly. That's another good point, right? And then how many shots, what was it like? I think even up until last year they were taking shots about not forcing a camera on you or something, right? Remember that, Mooch?
Yeah. I guess it was funny when they were like throwing the shots, but now that they're getting shots
now that
they're kind of salty about it. So
yeah, I mean, come on. You know what? I've never seen so many salty people in my life as I've seen today, and you could just tell. You know what I'm saying? Like, the tide is turning. And I said this. I tweeted out. I was like, look, if you're an Xbox fan and you stuck with them through all the crap, then congrats to you, because that's trial by fire. You know what I mean? If you're just looking at, look from the outside looking in, you take away the fanboy goggles, you look at these two companies with their ideas, and you can see that Sony is very timid. They're backed off. They don't know what to do. They're kind of spinning themselves in a circle. Microsoft has a clear plan. You know what I mean? Whether you like it or not, they're like, okay, people want a more powerful console. We're gonna do it. They kind of want a starter 4K thing because that's starting to be the fad and the trend. People are gonna upgrade to 4K. We'll give them that. 18 months later, we're gonna give them a native 4K machine. If they want VR, we're not going to give them this weak PlayStation 1 looking VR. We're going to give them real VR, you know?
Yep.
And that's, if they want to play on their Xbox games on their PC, so be it. You know, we own that too. You know what I'm saying? That's like, people want to turn these things into negatives, but Microsoft are the ones that are actually doing things for the players and for the gamers. And Sony, on the other hand, I don't know. I've never seen them like this before, to be honest with you. Maybe back in early on in the PS3 days, but I have never seen them like this kind of, you know, timid and just like ballless, to be honest with you.
Another article, shout out to Worrywart. He just sent me an article here. iDigital Times, PS4 Pro versus Xbox One, how Scorpio and Xbox One S compared to Sony's latest. This is actually one that depicts what we've been talking about for months, but this is now we know the facts. And it just basically says here, as it closes in, it says, well, who wins? It goes through all the stats of everything. It says, for the combination of price and features, the Xbox One S seems to be the best console available this year. The Xbox One S supports HDR gaming and allows 4K playback on both streaming apps and Blu-ray discs. That is, I mean, that's ultimately what we have to talk about here, people, okay? Don't pretend to be like, well, I'm a consumer first. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you're just like, no, I love Sony because, no. Let's talk about what your dollars in your pocket mean when you go into the store. Right now, an Xbox One S gets you that 4K system. Everybody right now that's walking into Best Buy, nobody's like, excuse me, 1080p TVs are where again? Like, nobody's saying that. So 4K is where we're going. When you have the big brick and mortars like Target, Walmart, Best Buy, all these guys are really pushing 4K. Guys, that's what's coming the next 4 to 8 years. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, something else could be on the way, but all we're concerned about with gaming rigs these days are 3 to 4 years out, and that's 4K. Sony just put a system out for the next 3 years that doesn't play 4K movies.
Yeah. Well, and that's the funny thing, right, Mooch? Like I said all along, like, who was right all along? Like, even I maybe doubted Phil Spencer for a while when he's like, well, you know, we don't want to do, like, upgrades where you're taking apart your console, you know, or putting stuff in your console, and we don't really believe in half measures. Like, everything he said was, he was 100% honest about it if you look back now, you know? He's like, we don't like the little half steps to 0.5s. You know, and they're not doing a 0.5, you know what I mean? They're doing something that could very well last, because once you're doing native 4K, I mean, where do you go from there? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is,
I mean, you can go farther up, but that's not gonna be for a while.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, like, the reason why they're doing that is because there's that boom right now, you know what I mean? Kind of like that boom when we hit, you know, when we went from standard def to high def, right? Yeah. And we're still at. Yeah, thanks for the claps. Thanks.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah. Anyways.
Hey, I got more applause right there than Sony got at their entire press conference.
Big shout out to almost the 700 people watching.
Hey, what's up, man? Almost 700 people. That's you know what, Xbox fans, you guys should be. Hey, yeah, people that are saying crap's a problem. No, look, I told you guys, and I wasn't lying. Like, Mooch saw these, and Hellhammer, I had the documents to all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I say this. Well, we've been saying this now for how long? And people are just like, and people are just like, no, it's gonna be super powerful, and you know, this, and this, and we've been saying
next year they're changing everything.
I was waiting for Andrew House at the end to be like, and this just proves that Xbox Nation and Crossfire is factual. Good night, everybody. I was like,
I mean, look, and people are like, oh, well, it'll do native 4K. We were saying, it has stuff in there for coding for 4K potentially, but a lot of it was talking about upscaling and that sort of thing.
It's like it teaches, and Hellhammer read these because I was like, yo, do you understand what the hell they're talking about here? Because it was like technical talk, and I'm like, do you understand? He's like, yeah. He's like, that's like how they're gonna buffer up so that you can, you know, they're not gonna do native 4K gaming, but it's like 1440, and even in the documents, it's like people can't tell the difference with the naked eye between 1440 upscale to 4K or 1080, so we can focus on like a better frame rate and keep it 1080 and just upscale it and this kind of stuff. So, I mean, you could tell that Sony, like, again, and they just kind of skirted a lot of the issues that they should have talked about. Like, why would they? That to me was like a funeral. You know, I don't know. That didn't seem like they weren't very excited about their own product. You know, I can't be the only one that felt that way.
There was absolutely no excitement in the room. There was nothing from when I actually listened. I got to be honest with you because it happened. I was at work and I was just trying to tune in here and there, and then I had to catch most of it afterwards. And to be honest with you, when I was listening to it, when I clicked on, and Mark Cerny was like, "And this is why we all have to wear little old lady T-shirts." And I was like, wait, I thought maybe I clicked onto the rehearsal. I'm like, oh, look at that. They have the camera on by accident. Oh no, wait, it's live. This is the show. Like, it was so dismal. Like there was nothing going on. It was like if you've ever been in a room where it's really stuffy, hot, the air conditioner's not working, there's no breeze, it's like stale air. It was just stale. Like the mic checks, there was noises in the background. There was the cues were wrong on stage. I mean, everything was a shit show. So listen, I want to say this much too. There was something I was tweeting all day today, and I want to thank everybody that follows me on Twitter because you guys retweeted the absolute piss out of it. I think I saw it up to like 75 or 80 retweets. This was awesome. I've been saying this for a long time. Please, for the love of God, stop giving Sony credit when they don't deserve it. I'm tired of it. Crap's even done it. Everyone does it. Well, the PlayStation's going to come out and they're easily going to be $199 because figuratively and respectively and monetarily.
Figuratively.
Stop with the shit. Can we stop with the garbage? Sony is not David Blaine. They're not a magic act. They're a business. They can't make money appear, okay?
Mooch, I wanted to get your input and I guess everybody's input on this too. They were really pimping the fact that they've sold 40 million PS4s.
Oh,
but
first slide.
Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Because they said that right away. But weren't they talking 43 million like 6 months ago?
They were at 45 a few months ago. They said 45 shipped. And now they're putting 40. Listen,
everybody picked up that on Twitter too, man, because they were like posting the shit. I thought it was like 45 million, and why did they say 40?
They are full of shit. Listen, here's what I'm trying to say to you: is anybody on this panel gonna go get up tomorrow and be like, I'm not going to work today. I'm actually gonna go see my lawyer. I'd like to sue Sony for the first slide they showed at yesterday's event because they said 45 million and they actually reported 40. That's false advertising. No, nobody's gonna do that. Sony knows nobody's gonna do that. They just say whatever they want. Listen, there's a bunch of people tweeting me right now during the show saying, because I was talking to I was actually shout out to Iron Wolf. I was talking to him because he was like, wait, this isn't right. Why is PlayStation Vanilla going to get HDR? And I'm like, they're not. That's the thing. They're not. They say they're going to do it. If they are, it's either going to be a dumbed-down version. Sony keeps lying to the consumer. It's over and over and over again. If they get some form of HDR, it's not the HDR that either the Pro or the S is going to give you. It's just not going to be the same. And, you know, the point of the matter is that nobody's going to ever take Sony to court for saying an oops factor, right? Like, oops, we say 43, I meant 40. Those get sold, those numbers, once you get past 38 million, it's very confusing.
Hey, but Crapgamer's insane and just a wild fanboy when I say allegedly. Because, you know what I mean? Because they completely, I don't believe Sony as far as I could throw them. No. You know what I mean? Like there's just something about them that you don't trust. And I'm like, and who was it? Rand, who was on earlier when I did like the reaction show. He even said I forget what the word he used for it, but he basically said they shipped a bunch of the old PS4s out last minute, and that's why they used those numbers. Yes. But let's be honest, the reason why there's a refresh, and we were having this discussion on Twitter, Mooch, with clowns and some people, because people, and I believe Bites of Chicken, because everybody's like, I bet it's going to be upgradable, and me and you are both like, that doesn't make sense.
No.
You know
what I mean? The other thing that Sony did that was wrong that they did that was upgradable, and you can already see it's a mess because the few people that I knew that do have a PS4, they all still have the 500 gig memory that it came with because they don't feel like taking out their Sony, toolkit. Like, nobody wants to take that out and take out the small screws and unplug this. And I love how IGN people are like, it's not that big of a deal. Where'd that screw go? It fell over here, Dustin. Hold on a minute. Oh, wait, no, that's not it. That's a potato chip crumb. Wait,
just throw it in a replacement screw kit for only $49.99.
Yeah, I mean, my point being is that, listen, once we started reading that this morning, crap, that was kind of comical, right? I mean, we knew that was just not going to happen.
That's no offense to clowns and those guys, right? No. But look, the whole, like, Sony even did an Apple type of event. You know what I mean? And I could see Microsoft doing an event like that too, right? Just because that's what's popular. Those are hype events. You know what I mean? But you just got to have a showman up there to do it. Phil's the guy. Sony doesn't have a guy. They need to find a guy because Cerny and House aren't doing it. And shout out to Jamie Moran for posting the Mickey Mouse gloves because he says that's what Sony sounds like. And that's 100% right. And I think, man, Xbox fans got to be doing like victory laps right now as far as I'm concerned, because even like this channel, earlier I had like almost 1,000 people watching. And you know why people are watching? They're starting to come out of the woodwork. It's safe. You should have never hid in the first place. Don't be a fair weather fan. But Xbox was never bad.
Well, the other thing is too. I mean, now it's really comical. Like I can't say all jokes aside because what I'm about to say is kind of funny. Now the Sony fanboys that are attacking, what they're saying is almost not even the Queen's English. It doesn't really make any sense. Like some of the sentences are kind of scrambled. They're like, yeah, well, when we actually get our HDR. And then it just ends. I'm like, what was that? What was that? You're in the middle of a sentence. Yeah. Like, they don't have anything to combat them with because all the things that they were saying, like the PS4 Neo was going to end up being, 5.5 T-flops.
Oh,
it was
the
come
red
with
pill
this.
or blue pill,
right.
All that stuff. Yeah.
That's not coming. It was never coming. As a matter of fact, it was a rumor just before the Sony show today that they were saying that there was fear that the speculation is that getting the 4.2 T-flops is going to be after they ramp this puppy up. If they just sent it the way it is out of the box, it was actually 3.75 or 3 points. It was a legitimate source, too. They said that they think that Sony really came way under, and they didn't see Microsoft coming. So, I mean, this is just, it's almost been fun to talk to the Sony guys today. I usually get nerved up, but today I can't even, they're not even finishing their sentences. It's like they're so angry as they're typing, they just hit send.
Well, I was really worried about NeoGAF because you know how I love them, and they were like so confused. They were like, HDR, is this actually a thing? Are people going to adopt this? Is this going to be a really good thing, or is it? It's confusing. HDR, what's that exactly? I mean, why is Microsoft? Is this Microsoft's next DirectX 12? Is it really going to be relevant? And now Sony talked more about HDR and did HDR school. It was like I felt like I was in school. Mark Cerny's like HDR and colors and it's beautiful. And I don't know, maybe that guy was hitting something. I don't know, but yeah, it was bad. And what was so funny was they glossed over the spec so fast that people were like, did they even mention the spec? You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, they just mentioned they doubled the GPU and overclocked the CPU. That's it. And I was like, that's exactly what I said. That was the launch. And why people? Because these things don't change overnight like that. Look at the way the PS4 was announced in February of 2013. So technically, Microsoft had from February till November to change something.
Do you know how much money they would lose to redo the whole CPU and GPUs, throw that stuff away and resocket them on the boards and stuff? That's insane amount. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have made sense to. And Hellhammer, you love to butt in over top of people, bastard. But what is your thoughts on the Slim at $299? That to me was the bigger ripoff. That's right.
Well, that's the thing. You go into your favorite gaming store, Walmart, whatever, and you see the Xbox One S and you see the PS4 Slim there, and you look at both of them objectively and see what they're going to offer you. Obviously, the Xbox One S is going to give you more bang for your buck. So I don't even see that selling that much, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, who would buy that? I don't understand the even if you don't have a 4K TV. Why would you? Well,
that too, crap, and literally a couple months after that, the PS4 Pro is going to be coming out, so they kind of just killed all the sales for that already.
So what you're saying, GKB, is should we be seeing articles from the media that insinuate did Sony kill sales of the PS4 Slim by announcing the PS4 Pro at the same time?
I think we're going to see more along the lines of, oh, this is a fantastic idea. More PS4s for everyone is more what we're probably going to see. But
let me ask you guys one question in the same direction. Excuse me for stuttering stepping there. Now they are confused though, right? Because hear me out. The casual consumer doesn't really know the difference between the Slim and the Pro. They both don't do 4K Blu-ray. They both do just regular gaming. Nobody who is a casual soccer mom walks in and goes, oh, no, you misunderstood me, Mr. Service Desk Client. I wanted the 4.2 teraflop version. Like, nobody says that. So how is it the consumer supposed to verify and know which one's the difference here? Plus, they look the same. It looks like the Slim is just sitting on top of a Slim for the Pro, right? So it's like maybe the...
Well, question,
someone
is
might think
the
it's-
Slim, is the Pro actually bigger than the Slim? Like, I know they stacked up other layers, of course, but I mean, like, in width size, not height size. Does anyone actually know?
From what I've seen on the pictures, it does look like it's massive in comparison to the Slim.
Yeah, it does. It does look quite bulky.
Like, here, let me see if I can find that picture again, because there's a.
It truly is a hideous design, and
Yeah.
you can say that with your chest out. That is honestly the truth of the matter. It is a hideous design.
I'm waiting for recalls because it like overheated or burnt down someone's house during Christmas time.
Oh my gosh! I mean, that would be terrible.
Well, there is an article out that says the PS4 Slim is overheating. Right? Crap, you saw that the other day. It was circulating all over Twitter.
I did see it. So what's weird is, like, I'm reading because I'm checking Twitter, and like Mooch, I don't follow a lot of these people anymore in the media,
right?
Because they've kind of screwed over Microsoft the entire generation. But this guy from VG 24/7, David Scammell, he's like 4K quality resolution, and he's like Sony's PS4 Pro site doesn't say native 4K anywhere.
No.
And this is what it says: next level gaming with a 4K TV. PS4 games deliver unprecedented visual precision, such as 4K quality resolution to give remarkable clarity down to the tiniest detail, alongside stunningly vibrant HDR colors. Your adventures will burst into life with unbelievable vibrancy. Yeah. Okay, and then it says 4K TV required, outputted by graphic rendering or upscaled. So
that guy David Scammell?
Yeah, David Scammell.
If you look at his picture on Twitter, he looks like the bad guy from Ghostbusters 2. Right? Thank you. Doesn't he? Yeah, the guy who was the artist that had the painting of Drago or whatever.
Oh, he does. Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's very disturbing, folks.
But Hellhammer, let me ask you something. Outputted by graphic rendering or upscaled. So isn't that like the rendering technique that they were talking about? That graphic rendering would be what is like temporal upscale or resolution or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's just a bunch of hogwash to say that they get away with saying it's 4K essentially. I mean, that's basically it. I mean, there'll probably be some 4K textures in there, but the actual resolution that's going to be output into the TV may very well show as 4K too, because it's going to be upscaled.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just all it is. It's a simple fact that's going to be upscaled. It's not going to be this big thing or this massive graphical thing that people think it's going to be.
Here's the thing. Wait till, like, end of November, December, when Digital Foundry starts doing their tech analysis on the games, and they'll start doing their pixel counting on the PS4 Neo, or Pro at this point.
Pro?
My bad. It's the Pro. And we'll see then, but I'm hard-pressed to see anything being in 4K. Maybe some indies and stuff like that, but...
Oh man, could you just imagine that Deer God game in native 4K? Man.
Hey, you know what? Don't knock it, man. I'm completely looking forward to it. No, not really, but I don't know. You know, I'm happy that Microsoft. Can you imagine just Phil Spencer and like these guys kick back with a cigar, like loving this stuff? Like I know for a fact that like Mikey Barra and these guys are, because look. The narrative will continue to change. I'm sure we'll hear how it's all about the games. You know what I mean? Like, and it is.
It won't matter because we got all the games. That's exactly what you're gonna hear.
Did you see? There's a new camera as well, guys.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about that, but I didn't know if you guys.
Well, before you guys get into that, you guys may want to see what just came out. So, PlayStation 4 Germany, PS4 Germany, which they have. I don't know if it's a PlayStation confirmed site.
It is. It's the PS4, and I already mentioned it, right? Like they responded. And
You mentioned this?
Aaron, yeah. Where the hell were you?
I heard you say that. I heard about the Aaron Greenberg part, but I didn't.
Aaron Greenberg tweeted out that tweet about the Scorpio being the most powerful native 4K gaming machine.
Yeah, that part I know.
PS4 Germany said very unprofessional.
Oh, okay, I didn't. I must have missed that part. Holy crap! I have no idea how I missed that. But
what do you think about that?
That's
unprofessional to basically advertise your product that's truthful.
Yeah, I mean, what? They don't like people talking about resolution now?
Oh, that doesn't matter now.
That is amazing. That is truly, truly, truly amazing. That Aaron can say whatever he wants. You've got, what was professional then, PS Germany? Let me ask you this question. Was it professional right after E3 to have Fat Boy Boys doing a bow, half staff to his master Yoshida at the time and do, this is how you trade a game. Bow. No,
Hey,
that wasn't professional.
I'm going to send you that same tweet I sent you earlier with that GIF.
Thank you.
Which is like you're bringing out the trolls, crap.
It's ridiculous. Now listen, hey, look at why is it we can't talk about it but they can?
Oh,
Look,
I know we can.
Because we're Xbox people.
Yeah, we're not. We don't have a voice. We're not allowed to speak.
Hey,
like
guess
that.
what, man? Xbox people are like, look just how much better things are right now. You know what I mean? Like, you just have like all these pro Xbox podcasts. You've got all these pro people in the community, like She-Wolf that tweets out and for everybody and all that stuff. Like the community really came together and sticks together, and that's what makes the Xbox better, in my opinion, even above all the hardware and all that kind of stuff, because it just does. It's just phenomenal, and it's like I don't really see the level of hate like with the memes and the like
700 crap.
pictures. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice. That's really good. I appreciate that, everyone.
Yo,
Man,
700
thanks.
people, hit that like button.
Yeah, if you guys are
Hit that like
watching,
button.
yeah, hit the like button. Come on, get us up over 200. We got over 700 watching, but I can't get 200 likes.
Come on.
Come on.
Say what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, went to 180.
Pew 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 pew.
Oh, 82. Come on, we can get that 200. Let's go.
Go.
Mooch and crap in the morning.
Woo!
Coming
we
soon.
go.
Yeah.
Over that
Wow, there you
200.
go. You got 205.
Wow.
There we go. Wow,
27.
26. There we go.
There we go. guys.
Wow.
232.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Very
That was a
nice.
quick. Oh, 242.
Hell yeah, that's what
It's
I'm talking
really
about.
jumping now. Holy
It
crap.
is. Hey, in
257.
that chat box, man. If Xbox One, type a 1. Give us that 1. If Xbox
one.
One.
In the chat
In the chat box. Yeah, give us a 1. And this is a little bit of delay, so it'll take a second. But I want to see all those 1s. If Xbox One, that's what I'm talking about.
Damn,
Oh,
almost
there they
600
go.
likes.
There they go.
Oh, yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
Wow. Nice.
Holy
Whoa.
No, nobody can say anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's putting ones.
Made you type 1.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Crap. 312 likes.
Yeah, there we go. See? Sometimes
That's what
you just
I'm
gotta
talking
get
about,
some of these lazy people to hit that like button. And look, I just got spammed on Twitter by a bunch of likes. So I know Swan Lee, you're watching. Aru, you're watching. Black Silver, you're watching.
Wow, that chat's still going with ones.
Yeah, oh,
That's
dude,
awesome.
that's
Hey, did
all
it-
day, man.
guys
Did
are
anybody see Sean Layden today?
He was.
Yeah,
they
he was in
aired
after.
after the show or whatever. That's
For like 2 minutes. He was like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't want to talk much.
I wasn't sure. I didn't know where he was. I thought maybe he was just trying to recruit some kind of jazz ensemble. I didn't know where the hell he went.
Wow, that thing's still going with 1s. Holy
Yeah, that's
crap.
Yeah, it
awesome,
is.
guys. You
It's,
guys are rock.
Yeah, that is
So-
nice.
Let's kind of go back to a conversation
Yeah,
that
the camera.
you had started. The camera.
Yeah.
So the redesigned PlayStation camera was also announced, and it contains the same features available on the current model, including PlayStation VR support. The only difference is that it has a more stylish look to it.
Wow, yeah, you know what? It doesn't look like a pillbox. I'll
No,
give
they're
that
calling
to
it
them.
sexy.
Well, I don't know if that's sexy. I don't,
It's kind
yeah.
of, I don't even know what you could call this thing. Like, it looks really weird.
I don't think it's that much of a better looking design at all, to be honest
Well,
with
the
you.
old design looked like a pillbox. So
Well, Sony isn't known for designing things that's just aesthetically pleasing. I mean, look at the
Yeah.
PS4 and the Pro.
Well,
Yeah.
this one
And
is
then-
like this, like, it's a little square, and then it has like this, I don't know. It's really weird looking.
yeah, well, it is weird. Hey, I got people
Or a
tweeting
diamond
me,
or something.
tweeting me
Yeah, I
one
see it
now.
They also announced a new new headphones as well.
Those are basically the same thing too, except for I think they're now 7.1 virtual surround
Yeah.
sound or something.
Yeah, that's what this article says. It says another thing was announced: the headset, which again, the exact same thing, but
When was this
one
shit
difference-
announced?
I don't
didn't see
know.
any of
They,
this
they
stuff.
just did it like on the back end. So look, they had a 45-minute show where they really just didn't do much besides announce these things, and now like they had to wait till like afterwards to kind of confirm. That's weird to me. Like, you have a show dedicated to people watching. Why not announce this stuff at the time? Unless, like,
instead of talking about like 4K and HDR for like 45 minutes, how about like
Yeah.
show this other stuff?
Well, they had to get everybody ready for that HDR quiz.
Well, truthfully, I actually thought that they were going to show even a little more on VR because, last year they hyped this thing up so much, and now all of a sudden it's like pretty much like
hey,
non-existent.
I'm gonna exactly cover what they mentioned about PlayStation VR. Hey guys, the PlayStation 4 Pro will help frame rates with PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
Oh, with a really weird
This one game took
shooter.
advantage of it with double pixels.
Double pixels, yes. So, and now on to why it's going to be HDR and HDR for your HDR, and it's amazing. So, yeah,
Here's a cup of HDR.
Yeah,
Here's HDR together.
Here's a cup of HDR. Let's take a swig together because that's a new word. It's a new buzzword, guys. HDR. But honestly, I said this earlier. I'm very happy that they're using HDR because now that's going to be a standard that both will use, and so all like the multi-plats and stuff will take advantage of it.
Oh,
Where
they want to see your Mark Canny impression.
your Mark Cerny impression.
Oh, Cerny. Sorry, my bad. Mark Cerny impression.
Go ahead, Mooch.
Mine. I don't know. I don't have a Mark Cerny impression.
Apparently you do.
Well, Mark Cerny, to be honest with you, is literally just the church lady from Dana Carvey's SNL skit. Like, oh, isn't that nice? Like, I can't believe you. Listen, first of all, I totally get the California, like, cool, hip, maybe I'm going to work, maybe I'm going surfing look that the business casuals have out there. Us in New York, we wear suits still. Remember those things? Yeah, those things are called suits. They don't do that out there. But over in California, apparently, okay, the Mark Cerny comes over to New York for this show. He's wearing a wrinkled shirt that came from his Izod collection from JCPenney. Listen, you've got millions of people watching you, church lady. You are not... Listen, when you don't have a lot to present... You better look your best. That's what I always say. You ever see somebody... Listen, sometimes Vanna White didn't have the best role on Wheel of Fortune, but she looked really, really good flipping letters. And so my point being is, this guy looked like an absolute putz up there. Then he sounded like a putz, and they had no product. It was strike one, strike two, strike three within the first 10 minutes. The show was just... atrocious. I was praying for an orchestra 10 minutes in. I'm like, somebody please play Beethoven's Fifth!
I don't know. I think I enjoyed the God of War orchestra better than... that came out bad because I just drank a thing of coffee and it just like got stuck in my throat. I enjoyed the freaking God of War musical better than...
What's going on over there?
I don't know. I was drinking coffee. Well, the clapping was our 5-year-old. So, in defense, that wasn't me.
I didn't hear it, so...
Your 5-year-old's a Mooch fan. It's fine. There's nothing
you
wrong.
heard it. The clapping. You were like, oh, see, someone claps for me or something.
Oh yeah,
that was
yeah.
my 5-year-old.
Earlier, yeah. That was more clapping than Sony got today, so...
Yeah, so I don't know. It's just disappointing. You really expected more, and I think even Xbox fans, like all of you said on the panel, we were all excited for... I'm not drunk. Why is everyone to think I'm drunk if I mess up? But,
She usually is.
I am not.
You heard
Anyways.
it here, confirmed by GKB.
Well, careful. He was in the chat box yesterday. He was like, "She beats me." So.
You guys are funny. Ha 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 ha. Anyways, I really expected to see so much more, and we were all actually kind of hyped to see what they were going to bring. And, me and GKB even actually thought about getting, at the time it was called the Neo or whatever, because there is still some games that we are looking, we were kind of excited to possibly play. Like, sad news, Kingdom Hearts is no longer coming to friggin' Xbox One. So I may
it is.
Jez said last night that it's not.
What?
Yeah, it was confirmed.
Yeah.
Jez from Windows Center said that Kingdom Hearts 3 is not coming to Xbox One.
Yeah,
in Japan. In Japan only, though.
No.
No,
everywhere.
he said everywhere. It's not coming at all.
No.
Oh, no.
Anyways, but regardless, so if by chance it's only coming to PlayStation 4, then I don't have a choice. I might have to get one because that's one game that I'm always going to want to play. But
you can pre-order it on Xbox One right now. Kingdom Hearts. Oh, here's a post. Kingdom Hearts 3 release date. Japanese Xbox website hints that it's a PS4 exclusive in Japan.
I guess we'll see.
It went missing from the Xbox or the Xbox One website in Japan, but yeah, you can even pre-order it off Amazon and everything right now.
Well, if that's the case, then I don't have to worry. But anyway.
No, you don't have to get no PS4. You're good.
But okay, can I at least get back to what I was trying to do?
Yeah, by all means. By all means.
But we were still excited, and I just do not find they actually had a very good presentation to actually show what they were bringing and why we should actually buy this. Of course, we already have the Xbox One, but it's just, I don't know.
It does about the PS4 Pro. Like, I can't even fathom spending $400 on it right now because there's literally no games. I mean, Horizon looked awesome. I'm not even gonna lie, it looked great. Mass Effect looked great, but there's still not enough games for me to justify $400 to get a PS4.
Right, and that's what I was gonna say too. Like, I was actually kind of excited for the launch because I was hoping that they maybe could sell me on another one because I like gaming, But it's not worth buying another PlayStation again, just for a little bit extra power, and I'm still gonna have the same crap games.
Before we went on, Hellhammer's like, "Yeah, PS4 Pro, it's over for Xbox." it's all
He's trolling you,
bro. It's Pro, and I was like, "What makes it a Pro?" He's like, "Just it's Pro." I mean,
what doesn't it?
Yeah, I was like, well, what's it do that makes it a Pro? He's like, what doesn't it do? I was like, I don't know. Play 4K, play 4K games, play in native 4K, play 4K Blu-ray. But hey, this is what the fanboys are going to stick to now. Who uses 4K Blu-ray, right? That's what you're going to hear a lot. A lot of people are going to say this, right? Oh, look at Xbox. Oh, going on about that 4K Blu-ray player. Who uses Blu-rays in this day and age? It's 2016, right? But then you slap them with this. Only 21% of people have the internet capabilities to stream 4K content at this time.
People will move to new houses in order to get better internet. See, they'll get a third and fourth job in order to pay for it.
This is the stuff that aggravates me more. Polygon today. Shout out to Jamie Moran for posting it. PS4 Pro will introduce HDR gaming. Here's what it looks like.
Yeah,
that's not true. It's Xbox One S that will illustrate HDR gaming first.
Hey, to be fair, they deleted that tweet and then changed the title to PS4 Pro introduces Sony's first HDR thing or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the first game that's coming to a console with HDR is going to be Forza Horizon.
I beg anybody that has any guts to, will you please open up some gaming media offices in New York, for God's sake? Can we get some real opinions from the East Coast? Enough of this crap. That's ridiculous. That's, honest to God, that is absolutely appalling. Who the hell's the editor? Who approves this stuff? Listen, above that little ad that I just read, it says Polygon with a little blue check mark. That is the face. That is the face of the mother company. You can't send it out and then be like, oh, oops, retract it. Like, it doesn't work that way. Why is it they get a pass on something like this? You know why? Because it's probably some 19-year-old kid who just got done using an acne cream, and he can't fucking figure out what the hell the truth is, but he's got to do what his subordinates tell him to do. It's in all honesty, it's so corrupt. The gaming media is more corrupt than the political media. It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah. Hey, somebody tweeted me this question. They said, are you concerned Xbox could get back on top and we see a repeat of 2013 where they stumble badly? And then he points out that the underdog status has actually helped Xbox a lot this generation. And I think that's a really good question. And I replied, I don't think that'll happen because now you have actual gamers running the Xbox division.
That's what I was gonna say too.
You have Phil Spencer. He's not going to let that happen again.
If Don Magic was in there, yeah, maybe. But
no, Phil's an actual player. He plays games. He knows what he's talking about. And to be honest with you, the minute he took that seat, you could tell that Yoshida gave that. Remember, he gave that backhanded compliment.
Yeah, he's the most human
there or something.
Yeah.
He's a human employee. And that's just a sure sign that they were like, oh shit, we got Sean Layden.
Yeah, hey, shout out to you, ZX6R. Thanks for the tweet. Yeah, but I'm gonna have plenty of time to kind of rub in this like 4K stuff. Like, if you were one of those people that were obsessed with 1080p, and now you're like, native 1080p is better than 4K medium setting. Like, this is the tweet that I saw today earlier. PS4 Pro at native 1080p is going to look better because it's going to be max settings as opposed to medium 4K on Scorpio. Like, some of the damage control.
The hell are they talking about max settings? Because 4 teraflops is hardly enough to max out some games. Like Witcher 3, 4 teraflops is good luck.
90 Ti's have a hard time on that shit.
Yeah, well, I didn't see this, but Rand pointed it out earlier too. Rise of the Tomb Raider apparently is going to have 3 different options on the Pro. One option is 1080p, 30 frames per second with all the bells and whistles. It's going to look really good, apparently. One is 1080p, 60 frames per second. It's not going to look as good. And one is going to be like the upscaled like rendering technique for 4K 30. So yeah, they're gonna have
30 is the first one.
Yeah, 1080p 30 with all the bells and whistles, like all the I guess it's gonna have high fidelity textures and all, probably 4K textures.
How does that even make any sense? So like for 30 frames, like it's not gonna have all the bells and whistles. Like I don't understand that. Like even with 4 teraflops, you should be able to do that still. Like
what it is they're doing 30 frames per second at 1080p on basically what would be ultra settings, and then they're doing 1080p at 60 frames with probably a mixture of medium high, maybe an ultra setting somewhere in there, and then the 4K at 30 frames upscaled, which is probably
going to be like 1440 native, and then they upscale it or whatever.
And that's probably going to be at an even lower resolution than the 1080 60.
Yeah, but I mean, Hellhammer, you work in computers just like me, man. You know, like 4 teraflops can at least do 1080p 60 with a good amount of those bells and whistles still on, man. I don't.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, I can basically gimp down my computer and put in a 4 teraflop card and still run, 1080 on high and ultra mixed settings at 60 frames easy on probably 90% of games.
I don't know. It's just weird. Why don't they just have that setting on and then whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's really interesting.
You're also looking at the Jaguar cores too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, check this out. Like, I'm just loving reading the headlines. There's you could tell there's some that are just holding on to that PlayStation stuff. Like, here's one: all PS4s getting HDR shows Sony cares more about their fans.
Yeah, dude, they care.
I mean that's a terrible headline. Here's a pretty good headline though. PS4 Pointless Pro, no 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray support is sad. Yeah, that's the headlines that I expected to see. Like that kind of stuff. And again, we're gonna see a lot of the damage control over the 4K stuff, like the Blu-ray player and whatnot. But to me,
it's good to see the media doing this too. But like, we need the Sony fans to do this as well. Like, tell them you're not happy with this, so they fix it for you. We're critical of Xbox and all that kind of stuff. You guys should do the same for Sony.
They don't. The Sony fan base. I was saying this the other day on BGST. The Sony fan base doesn't say anything. They never complain. They don't bitch. They put their head, like the 2 or 3 people that I still do talk to that are PlayStation fanboys, they wrote me today. They were just like, well, they put like sad face emoji. Guess we'll see what's next. You know what I mean? Like they're done. They'll go back and they'll wait for One Piece Part 2.
Oh yeah.
They just kind of chill and they're done. They just quiet down. They don't do what we do. Like when Xbox wants something, it's like when Detroit last won the NBA championship. We turn cars over. We light people on fire. We eat bath soaps. Listen, all of a sudden people start losing their minds, which, don't get me wrong, to a certain extent, GKB, is a good thing because you up your quality product. And I always think we should be somewhat critical. My only thing was just, sometimes Xbox fans also we have to calm the hell down.
Let me ask this. Like, I saw this, like, Watch Dogs 2, the game, just tweeted this out earlier. It says, data leak, Watch Dogs 2 will support 4K resolution on PS4 Pro starting day 1. right? Like this is the stuff you have to worry about. Isn't that
Yeah.
misleading?
It is. It's very misleading. They don't have 4K gaming on that system. It's 4K upscale.
Yeah, you know, like to me, that's what I was worried about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's happening. But don't forget, the companies that have come out and said that this same sentence, by the way, they're just changing the. It's literally you could tell they're all saying the same thing. It's like Sony handed them a sheet. It's almost like when an insurance company calls you. They've already got a sheet in front of them. They just read it and they just change your last name. You know what I mean? Like Mr. GKB. This is your day to understand that life insurance is for you. Okay, so what I'm saying is this is the third one because Call of Duty folks said it. Now you just told me Watch Dogs. But don't forget, Watch Dogs has been in Sony's pocket since day one.
Yeah.
Call of Duty's, of course, got the marketing deal. And then there was another one, crap. What was the other one that you said earlier today that's come out and said that same exact sentence? They just changed the game name.
Deus Ex.
Deus Ex. Yep, they came out and said it. So these are all like games and companies that are pretty much, predominantly they're all Ubisoft. That's shocking, right? Ubisoft is with Sony. They're always with Sony.
Well, check this out. Did you see that headline that Jamie Moran tweeted out? He said, best headline, Xbox One S does what PlayStation 4 Pro, P-R-O-N-T.
Right.
Play Ultra Blu-ray 4K disc. I love that. Like, to me, like there's a good mix, but that's better than before. Because remember on BGST on Sunday, and I told Tim Dog, I'm like, yo, it's nice to see a company call out Sony for them not being able to get their first-party exclusives out.
Right.
And Tim Dog's like, well, that's only one so far. I'm like, dude, last year at the holiday time, we saw articles about saying how genius it was that Sony didn't need exclusives. You know what I mean? So it starts off with one. I mean, one starts a revolution.
Well, think about it, right? So Microsoft, great point, crap. Last year, Microsoft had all these exclusives. Articles come out from all the gaming media. Who needs exclusives? Sony's doing it right. Just lay low. Okay, whatever that means. Now, this year, it's like, resolution. Microsoft's like, we are going to have the most powerful son of a bitch in 12 months. And the one we're giving you right now does 4K Blu-ray movies and upscales to your 4K TV. Now this year's articles are, what's 4K? It's like... Wait a minute, who the hell's writing all of this, and who's approving it? Like, I mean, God bless Aaron Greenberg and Phil for when they keep getting these questions from, like, Giant Bomb and Polygon. They have all these sit-down chats
So
with
explain
them.
to us what 4K is.
So, Phil, what would you say? Should I end up getting the KS9000 or the 8000 in the Samsung? Could you tell the audience? No, he doesn't work for Samsung, asshole. Like, you know, I don't understand why Phil got hounded after E3, but nobody chased Andrew House into the parking lot asking him for a TV selection.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew House, is it Vizio or Samsung? Andrew, tell us. Nobody said anything. I mean, come on. Can you just picture the media running out to the parking lot? You haven't told us yet. Is it Westinghouse or JPC? Who's got the better 4K for the Pro? Nobody asked any questions. Nobody cares. But when it's Microsoft, they've got to nitpick. So wait, Phil. Phil, excuse me. Yeah, this is Mooch from Polygon Press. Yeah, real quick. Just wanted to ask you, are you demanding people to buy a 4K television to enjoy a Scorpio? Is that what you're insinuating? No, that's not what I'm...
I love when you read, like, articles, like, seems you guys are talking about the press and stuff, and they even say, Sony announced the PlayStation 4 Pro in New York today. It's pretty boring. But that's fine, really.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What? How does it? What?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
like-
amazing, isn't it? It really is amazing. You guys hear me do my rants, and you think I'm making this up. The problem is I'm not. I've just got it to memory, and I'm reciting it. Like, it's literally that atrocious. What She-Wolf just read is what's in print. It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
And then, of course, because of the fact that Sony didn't actually really go into details, everybody writes like PlayStation 4 supports HDR and 4K gaming. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
But of course, that's what they're going to interpret it as because of the fact that they just pretty much skipped over that, or at least the main details of exactly what the 4K is going to be doing on this system. So,
I don't know
of
how they
course-
could skip over that, like, or how anybody missed it when they spent
Well-
like literally 10 minutes about our new rendering technology. Da 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 da.
They don't need to release actual specs because they're
Well, no, they hear
Sony.
4K, and that's all that matters. It's 4K because they said the word 4K.
Well,
And-
I don't. Hold on. Just because they say the word 4K a lot, I mean, that's like sleight of hand, right? Like 4K, 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 but we use rendering techniques to get that'll look good on your 4K TV, right?
But I mean, that's the point, crap, is like Quantum Break got destroyed for the same technique that they're going to be using on this 4K thing. Where is the outrage? Where is like everybody screaming and hollering about this? I mean, personally, I don't give a shit about like resolution. I just want bigger, better games. But like seriously, let's be a little bit fair here. Come on.
But that's where the whole social media is so biased, because again, that's why I was saying all they hear is the word 4K. They didn't pay attention to anything else that they were saying. It was just it's 4K. So of course that's exactly what it's going to do. It's going to do 4K native. No, they did not say that, but that's how the social media is saying that it's going to do, and that's why I really get disappointed in reading anything from social media and why I actually stay away from it.
Well, here's what GameStop listed. It says extraordinary entertainment with up to 4K streaming and 4K auto upscaling for video content. Huh. Yeah, I
it's
mean,
an upscaler, and that's literally that's what they're putting in. That's what the extra GPU power is for upscaling and PSVR.
I just tweeted this out, and I've been saying this for, I don't know, 2 years now, but maybe now people will start to understand. So NeoGAF News Threads actually tweeted out Sony likely saved $15 by not including a UHD drive in the PS4 Pro. I've been saying this for a long time. I love when people say to me, Mooch, Sony's making a killing. They're making an absolute killing on the PS4. They sold 43 million. They've only been making $15 to $25 profit on that. Do the math and then look at what it costs to keep an office building open. Just the heating, cooling, lights alone. Forget the salaries and the flights and the meals that are paid for and Yoshida's extra fucking wants and dislikes and everything. Hear me out though for a second. What I've been saying for the longest time is that the console itself, okay, yes, the number matters in sales because it helps developers know which is going to be a lead platform, this and that. It knows where the consumer, the base is. But as far as financials for the company, I'll use my same reference before. When you go to a restaurant, if GKB and his wife are not drinkers and they both order the surf and turf, that's the filet mignon with the lobster. Let's say it's a $65 per plate, but they only drink water. Meanwhile, me and my wife go in and we get 2 appetizers and 3 bottles of champagne. They like us more. It's a 300% profit on the champagne, and they make about $15 on the surf and turf. The whole point of the actual console is to get butts in the seats. It's to get the console into the home. Once it sits in the home, a lot of people just leave consoles sitting there and they use it for Netflix. Well, Sony doesn't make any money when you do that. Sony makes money when you go and buy NAC 2 and pop it in there. That's when they make their money. It's like when you go to the restaurant. They don't care if you eat the surf and turf. They're like, would you like to see the wine list? Are you thirsty? Will you drink something? Try this. Drink something. You know, like they want you to drink booze because that's where their money is. And Microsoft and Sony want you to put the box in the home to buy the actual software, and Sony has no games. They had another conference. They had E3 where they had a lovely orchestra and games coming out in 2019. Today they were sans the orchestra and no games still. They showed Shadow of Mordor. How dare you show Shadow of Mordor?
Which they even pointed that out, that some of these games are going to be forward compatible. But then they also said only like a couple, or I don't know. They worded it weird how they were talking about the forward compatible.
She-Wolf, are you saying that Sony would try to intentionally word things to confuse consumers? They would never do that. Come on.
No, I know.
Look, I mean, the basic thing is that it's going to be forward compatible with whatever developer decides to put that that shit in.
They said it really weird when they were talking about it, and I was like, wait, so you have like 2 titles and you're going to say like it's all forward compatible because you have 2 titles that possibly could be, like, I don't know, they made it sound like it could be, but might be, but may not be. I don't know.
Well, that's not confusing at all, but I'm sure nobody's actually going to say that was a little bit confusing or underhanded or a bad tactic. Watch Microsoft be made out to be bad guys for sticking up for themselves about native 4K gaming now.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Wow. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit interesting.
Well, I mean, I can already see the damage control articles once the Scorpio comes out. It'll be like, PS4 Pro 4K versus Scorpio 4K. Is there really a difference?
Wow, I mean I
you're
know
gonna see
that's
that.
funny, but yeah, that would be
I mean,
actually.
that's
Well, I said-
legitimately what's going to happen.
I said this on Crossfire last week. I'll say it again. When you go to get Scorpio next year, okay? And I'm definitely just putting my neck out there and saying this. When you go to pick up your Scorpio, there's a very, very, very good chance that you're going to be playing Crackdown 3 on that bad boy. And it'll be one of those things where your eyes open, your jaw drops, and you're like, holy shit, this is what feels like a next generation. Whether you want to call it a next generation or not, you're going to see something, you're going to experience something. People that go home November 10th, 2016 are going to be in line. They're going to walk out with a suitcase under their arm, which is the Pro, and someone's going to say, bro, what are you playing tonight? He's going to be like, I'm playing... I can't even say
I don't know.
Shadow of Mordor again.
I
And,
really
and,
think a standard suitcase will fit that thing.
and to be honest with you, I'm going to play a little Killzone later on, okay? So listen, I got news for you. This is a sad, sad day for people. Not only are the Sony fans depressed because the people that were spreading rumors were all lying to them, but the Sony fans were expecting to get some kind of software out of it, and a lot of people were saying this even that were at the show, that Horizon Event Zero, whatever that thing's called, it looked better in Neo mode, but it really is not going to be that much different than what your PS4 vanilla is going to do. So it really is the grape in the middle that gets squished.
Well, hopefully they'll get lucky and GameStop will just turn around and do like the $200 trade-in towards the PlayStation Pro or whatever, and then they can just get one that way.
Can I ask you guys something real quick? Remember all the crap that Microsoft got for doing dynamic resolution, like custom resolution, right? So Johan Anderson tweeted Mass Effect 4 or Mass Effect Andromeda 4K HDR on PS4 Pro and was asked if it was upscale or native, and he said neither. He called it custom. So basically what they're going to use is like, just they're just going to do what Microsoft was doing.
I think it goes back to with the Quantum Break thing, man, with the temporal rendering technique.
Yeah, like that, so.
All the squares and stuff, and then put them into this big image or something like that. It's just gonna be weird.
So and it's like guessing the next thing so that it fills it in or whatever. So basically, that's what they're gonna do, and so they're gonna have to do that with everything. Where I was before, I was like worried that not a lot of developers would be on board with 4K native on Scorpio, but now it sounds like we'll probably get a lot of 4K. I'm hoping that it gives you the option. You know what I mean? Like. Like what do you want to play on? Because I'm sure Scorpio is going to look great on 1080p TV. It's going to look great on 4K TV. So I'm hoping that it gives people a little bit of the option. You know what I mean? To like sort of like what Rise of the Tomb Raider is doing.
What I'm hoping that the Scorpio will have is we'll have a kick-ass upscaler like the Xbox One has for 1080, but for 4K. And gives you the option to either play something in natively 4K without it being upscaled at a little lower graphical fidelity, or 1080p at higher fidelity but maybe upscaled to 4K or something similar.
Yeah, somebody just put this in the chat too. They go, Sony used the PS3 as a Trojan horse to get Blu-ray in people's homes, and now they dropped the ball with the PS4 Pro. Because think about it, Sony sits on the board for Blu-ray players. Right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that they don't have a 4K Blu-ray player is very weird.
Well, no, I mean it makes sense, right? Because Sony, they want to sell additional products. So now,
but isn't that what Xbox 360 got destroyed for, because it didn't have a Blu-ray player?
Yeah,
people complained about it, but the difference is that Sony. Yeah, they do sit on the board, but right now the highest rated Blu-ray player out there is a Sony model for.
But
for
I
USB.
just mean, I understand that, but I just mean in general, why is it? Well, obviously we know why Xbox gets destroyed for not having something when Sony doesn't. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why can Sony's fanboys, I guess, without actually officially saying whatever, they come out and they're like hating on Xbox because, oh my god, they don't have Blu-ray, you guys suck. But now PlayStation isn't doing it, and yet they're saying that PlayStation is better than everything that Xbox is coming out with. Like, seems pretty hypocritical and really I don't know.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Another thing, right? Days Gone director. PS4 Pro is a game changer. Even 1080p looks amazing on it, right? So I mean, like,
Oh wow.
come on. You
I
know,
thought
like, hey.
the regular PS4 was doing 1080p.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, GKB. Let me ask you this: you're a game director, and
Yeah.
you're gonna say your game's gonna look amazing on this. I mean, what would you expect someone to say?
I guess
At
that's
the end-
true. You're trying to sell your game. I get that, but it does
This-
sound kind
this
of
just
forced,
in.
though, you know what I mean?
This just in: our game's gonna look amazing. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
No, you just really like my game looks like crap on that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's to me, I don't understand.
I don't know. Like for me, like if I would just say something more than just 1080p because it was supposed to be 1080p on the regular PS4. So if I'm gonna sell my game, I'm gonna like point out something else besides 1080p. Like I don't know, like it's got more polygons on screen or some other craziness. I just wouldn't say 1080p because, like I said, the original one's supposed to be 1080p. So
Yeah. Well, again, like all these.
Maybe they caught the dude off guard.
he's like, oh yeah.
You know what's funny is all these games are tweeting out that they're going to be 4K on the PS4 Pro, but they're not really being clear about this. I don't really understand how. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not-
dude,
I don't understand
it's
this.
upscaled to 4K, so it'll be 4K on the PS4 Pro.
I think
I mean,
it comes back to. It comes back to what I was saying. Like after it comes out, these games release on the PS4 Pro. Digital Foundry is going to do their analysis, and they're going to see that hey, they were telling you it's 4K. It's not 4K. It's not. It's a lower native resolution. It's being upscaled, and people are probably going to lose their minds again.
But is Digital Foundry actually going to do that? Like I thought they were pretty Sony.
I think they'd almost have to at this point, like, because if not, then it's going to be like.
I mean, somebody's going to notice because they aren't the
Yeah.
only ones that do
Yeah,
that
no.
anymore.
Exactly.
There's other man. We've retained a large audience still, over 700 people
Over 7,
watching.
yeah.
So Crap, I had mentioned this to you earlier, and I want you guys to actually comment on this just because I think it was funny. There was a comment that was left in the previous show. I guess it was like the reactions,
Yeah.
and they actually said Microsoft makes you pay for HDR. Sony gives it out for free with an update.
Yeah,
Well, shout out to Mike Morale real quick because he's calling it. He's calling what Sony's giving out in an update. Or they're going to call it Diet HDR.
yeah.
It's the low cal HDR.
Well, let me think. The HDR thing is a little bit weird, right? Because the 1.4 HDMI can't really support true HDR. So the old school PS4 and old school Xbox One, they can't really do that. You know what I mean? So I don't know what kind of game they're kind of playing. You know what I mean? So I think that's a little bit weird.
It's gonna be like quasi HDR.
It's going to be some software trick or something, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be some trickery or something that's gonna be added onto it that'll basically do that. I mean, look, you don't need a lot of power to push HDR. That's true, but I mean, look, these things are already underpowered. So what? They're gonna add in this feature for HDR, this semi-HDR, and cause performance problems on systems that already are known to have performance problems? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Like I know you're right. I just like to me, I don't understand how like the media can be this misled so quick. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't.
And that's saying this update even happens, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
Mooch is
that's
right.
exactly
I mean, a month down the road, someone might be like, yeah, we're still working on that HDR the same way with working on changing your PSN tags.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Don't worry about it,
Wow.
everybody. Listen, the whole idea behind HDR, okay, I was trying to tell somebody on this on Twitter earlier, is this wasn't the PS4 debate, this was just HDR in general. Microsoft wants you to buy the S because they're fading out the fat, and Sony wants you to buy the Slim at the very minimum because they're phasing out the PS4 vanilla.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this, folks, is not anything new. This is business. Apple held an event 2 hours earlier, which, by the way, Sony, if anybody from Sony is listening or anyone that even cares to tell Sony, watch the Apple event and watch after Tim Cook came out on stage. You would have thought Elvis just came back to life. It was like applause. It was like, did like Bob Barker back there. Huh? I mean,
He had
here,
some
Mark
charisma on stage.
Cerny came on, and for God's sakes, we couldn't even get crickets to show up for the goddamn thing. It was stale air. So, I mean, to be honest with you, you know, the whole thing with Sony is they're going to do a lot of this practice what you preach stuff. They're going to say a lot of, oh, it's on the way, it's coming, it's in the next update. Oops, the update bricked your console. It'll be in the following update. You know, it's just smoke and mirrors. And I guess I really think some of the Sony fans that have turned quiet, I don't pick on them. I leave them alone because, to be honest with you, I think they're sitting there and they're like, you know, it's literally when you said we haven't lost the war, but we've lost the last 7 battles, and it's not looking real good. And once you see Microsoft, like Larry Herb and Aaron Greenberg were sitting there today, and Albert Pinello, he had a couple of tweets today too that were zingers. They all sat there with their right index finger on the left trigger of the mouse, and they were like, everybody aim, and then they were like, thank you for joining this PS4 experience, and they were like, fire. And they just fired these tweets out, and it was
fire,
just,
fire.
So then, okay, I have to ask, you know, when it comes to the Pro and Scorpio, do you guys think whether or not it actually was supposed to be released before the Scorpio was even known, but because Microsoft kind of just came out with like this next big system instead of like just upgrading a Slim to be, you know, the middle generation, do you think it actually threw Sony offhand? And because, you know, the Neo was supposed to kind of be like the Scorpio, but now they're like, no, it's just the Pro. It's nothing big. We'll have another big one coming out later on. This isn't the new generation or nothing.
Absolutely, I
Had
think.
to change their stance?
Yeah, I absolutely think they were caught off guard. I mean, you could see that in, you know, their whole presence here at the press conference. They were like, I can't believe I got to go on stage and talk about this stuff right now. and you know, they had like this whole like teaching you like 4K and HDR. They were trying to sell it so hard. Like they were totally caught off guard.
Look,
they were selling you today an obsolete console. That's very hard to do.
Yeah,
It's very hard
Sony
to do.
thought that they had the upper edge because they probably had no idea what Microsoft had up their sleeves. And all of a sudden, you know, we got all this leaking stuff of we had all the rumors of upgraded consoles, all this stuff, but nothing was confirmed. We had the leaked documents from Sony that basically had all the specifications there. So at this point in time, right, that those leaked documents came out way before Microsoft officially had to announce anything. So I'm sure that somebody at Microsoft probably seen those in passing at some point. So they basically already knew what Sony had and invested in, and Sony thought that they were going to absolutely kill it with this 4 teraflop, supposedly ultra-powerful console. And then Microsoft comes out of nowhere, out of left field, and is basically just, hey, look, we got this 6.5 teraflop console coming out.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the thing is, some people are probably hearing my last comment, and they're like, well, Mooch, how can you say that the console is dead on delivery? And the reason I say that is this. We've all agreed, even though I've tried to fight it, people still say, you got to understand, Sony's winning this generation on multiplats. Well, what happens is the reason that they were selling a dead console today was in 10 months from the November 10th release of the Pro, 10 months from then, or 12 months from then, they're going to be getting like swept on. Scorpio's going to sweep the floor with them, in the fact that the multiplats are now going to all go to Xbox. And don't be shocked if you start to see, because Phil's already said it. Phil said that a lot of the developers already have the box in hand. Enough, let's put it this way, enough for them to already start making the games on the Scorpio, and then they can hand them new API or SDKs later on when the system's more closer to finished. It won't change anything but the graphical capability, and we all know that UWP is going to do that throughout the 3 systems anyways. So, I mean, this is really a telltale today. This isn't just, wow, we were right, crap had the documents, we saw it, we've been telling everybody that nothing more was going to come of it. Yes, we did that, we had fun, that's great. But what you saw today was a truly, truly defeated Sony. You saw Mark Cerny up there. I mean, my God, he almost had a bottle of fucking blackberry schnapps he wanted to just start, you know, because he can't handle anything strong. God forbid he has an actual 80 proof shot of something.
Yeah.
But you know,
He's
I mean,
hard at work on neck too. That's gotta take it out of
hey,
you.
listen, hey, Mark, if you're listening and you're not, I would really prefer that you made Marble Madness too. Thank you.
Well, you know, they did what, you know, look, I'm not a PlayStation fan, but that was a bad conference. I expected them to go out there and do what they normally do, right? Like, they had a really bad E3, but at least they sounded Well, except for the part where they're like, "We hope you enjoy it." I guess maybe I don't know, but I think that it's interesting that they just really kind of were down in the dumps. Like, well, I guess they're like sounded like Hellhammer. Well, I guess I don't know. It's like we've got this PS4 Pro, and it can do 4K, and I don't probably listen to Metallica on it. I don't know, maybe. But the real loser is the Slim, in my opinion.
Yes.
And
Yes.
like that's a
was just
complete
a waste of
Look,
money.
I don't understand that at all, right? Like they dropped the USB port and optical audio, which is very important to anybody who gives a shit about their experience or audio or media or anything similar, and they're still charging the same price.
Yeah, I agree. Like, you know what? Like, Sony would almost be better off, since they basically are telling people screw you anyway, just to say not even do a Slim.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They should really just say, okay, $390. Because look, the PS4 was $350 to begin with. The Fats right now they're $350. So why not just go, okay, we're phasing all that out. You got to pay $399 for this thing. You know what I mean? Like, make people kind of upgrade it. I mean, does anybody here actually? Like, I don't see a lot of support for this. I'm not seeing people going, oh man, I'm definitely going to go out and buy this. You know what I mean? Like, for me, I went into it with an open kind of thing. Like, hey, maybe if there's an offer and I can get $200 from my current PS4, maybe pick one up for $200, maybe. I don't know. But now it's like there's not even a point to it, to be honest with you.
Well, when it comes to the Slim, though, like, it's pretty much going to be that console for, like, parents or grandparents or whoever goes in and they just want, like, a cheap system to give their kids for Christmas. Because, let's be honest, it was a waste of money to build in the first place when, like you said, the PlayStation 4 is still sitting at, like, $350 for a regular price. And then now you're bringing out the Pro, which is already, like, it's the one that's going to be better than both the Slim and the original PlayStation 4. So what is the purpose of getting that Slim other than the fact that it is a little smaller? So you might as well spend that extra $100 and actually just buy the Pro if that's what you're looking to buy for a PlayStation. Because I just think the Slim was a waste of money, and it was a waste of point to even bring out to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they basically killed it for me, and if they'd have come out and said the Slim was $199, because I was thinking again, I was hoping today, hey, Sony, sell me another PlayStation, because I'm a gamer, I would like to, potentially have some other games to play, but then they're like, oh, no optical out.
Hey, Mooch, did you just ask that dude if he ate paint chips as a kid?
Yeah.
Okay, so this dude tweets me and Mooch. He's like, Sony will software upgrade the PS4 from HDMI 1.4 to 2.0 to support HDR.
Right.
He's like, they did it with PS3 from 1.3 to 1.4. Like, isn't that hardware? Like, if you have a one, like, if I have, like, I can't use an Elgato with the one that I have in a USB 2.0. It needs to be 3.0. I can't software upgrade it.
You can just download that new Windows update. Haven't you heard of that? It updates all your USB ports to 3.
Puts
you
new
don't have
ones
to
in
buy
it.
a new hardware.
Well, somebody just tweeted me, and I guess I'll answer this. What do you think Scorpio's price point needs to be to hit next year at? I think they're going to hit $399. To be honest with you,
$399 will be what it will be at.
Look,
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get booed and heckled. I'm gonna say there's gonna be two, right? Yeah, there's gonna be 2 price points based upon possible like storage space, because Microsoft likes to do options. I think you're looking at $499 and $599 actually.
I think you're gonna see a $399 one.
I think that you're gonna see.
Well, if they bring out like a 500 gig, like if they do what they did with the Slim, where they actually have like all 3 options, where possibly say they do the 2 terabyte one where it's going to be like limited, like what they did with the Slim, but it's gonna be the highest price point for all those like real hardcore gamers. Of course, I'm sure all of us are gonna end up getting that one. But
I think 2 terabytes is gonna have to be the standard with 4K gaming. I don't think you could have a 500 gig out there. That means you could put like 1.5 games.
But you're thinking in terms of today's prices. 10, 12 months from now, prices for hardware is gonna drop.
Yeah, I think they managed to get 2 terabytes into that S for $299.
That's what I'm saying.
I think the 2 terabyte will be the base model, and then you'll have a 4 terabyte or a 5.
Right, yeah, I just picked up a 2 terabyte hard drive the other day for $37.
And that's you buying one item. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me just
Right.
buying one.
Off the shelf, right?
Yep.
So I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, I agree with She-Wolf. In order to get it to the price of $3.99, where I agree with She-Wolf, is something has to get cut, and I don't think Microsoft is trying this. Now, the Scorpio's not a bare bones product. This is something when you're buying a amazing piece of hardware for as far as a console gamer is concerned.
Well, especially when they already confirmed that, you know, they're going to have like the backwards compat, the forwards compat, and all of that. So really, like, gamers don't have to lose the Slim or, you know, the original Xbox. Well, possibly the original Xbox One, just because of the fact that, let's be honest, it will be outdated. But the Slim, you know, it's that brother, it's that like little brother to the Scorpio. So people will not actually have to change from this unless they really want the absolute best quality in their gaming. And of course, that's going to be more targeted towards the hardcore gamers.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come out like at $4.99, and then during the Christmas, like November and stuff, it's gonna drop down to $4.50.
I
would love to see like a $3.99 version. I really would, but I don't know.
I'm gonna say $4.49. Just because I think that going above, I think going 600 to even 550 is a bit on the high end. I realize that the original Xbox One was 500, but and it was the inferior, the technically inferior on paper, anyways, product.
Yeah, but with that though, you know, everyone talks about the prices and stuff, but look at all the gaming like laptops or even like the Steam. What was that Alienware Steam thing that they brought out? The
Steam boxes. But the problem is, nobody is buying those because of the high-end prices. Like, look, the reason why that stuff, like the high-end, like that's a completely different market for the. You can't really compare the PC market to console, because most high-end PC gamers are people who are going to play on PC that are anywhere serious. I mean, I'm not even a serious PC gamer, and I still put, you know, probably
no, but people buy and upgrade their computers all the time. But I was just referring to the price points, not the actual systems themselves. It's just more, you know, for better quality, people will pay better prices. But then that's where it all comes down to, you know, having the different versions of sizes to go with each price point to be able to match, you know, the different stylist spenders that are out there.
Yeah, hey, I agree 100%. I think it's you know, it's wow. This guy's like still sending us stuff. Moo's trying to get us to believe that this thing. I looked, but it's just a forum post, and whoever was posting in the forum called it the X-Bone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, excuse me if I don't believe the guy that calls it the X-Bone.
Yeah, listen, I remember one time I got in an argument with someone like, I don't understand why you take offense to something. I go, listen, you're doing it on purpose, and that's, you know, that Microsoft has actually come out and said that they don't care for that term themselves. Yeah. Larry Herb said he didn't care for it. So when you do that, they're like, well, it's an abbreviation. I go, here's one that's real short. XB1. It's shorter than that. So
or XBO.
Or XBO. Or just Xbox.
Or just how about Xbox One? I mean, you don't seriously gotta. It's Xbox One. It's not like it's freaking 6 letters.
Yeah.
Come on.
When someone writes that, I usually just block them or I say, get the F out of here. I don't got time for you. This person. That's why I said, did you eat paint chips as a kid?
Well, he says he's something. You know, look, yeah. I mean, just because he says he's an Xbox fan doesn't really.
Oh yeah, everybody's an Xbox fan.
Yeah. Oh. They're all there. There's many Xbox fan to be seen nowadays. You know what I mean? Trust me when I say that. But yeah, it's a good day. Like it's almost. I have this euphoric feeling. You know what I mean? I'm like very happy today. There's going to be a lot of funny and interesting content coming on my channel.
It just makes me more excited for the Scorpio, really.
Yeah. I mean, look. It wasn't a very exciting event. It wasn't. For one thing, they don't have any games to really show off. You know, like Scorpio, if they're like, okay, Forza 7, 4K 60 native, you know, or Scalebound 4K, you know, 60 or 30 or whatever. You know what I mean? That's something that worth getting exciting about. You know what I mean? This stuff with how can you guys bashed Microsoft for dynamic resolution and for upscaling, and now you're all about dynamic resolution and upscaling. Make up your mind. Like, which is it? Is it good? Is it bad? Like, you guys just don't.
Well, there, Homer Simpson. That's literally what it is.
Yeah, you know, I just like seriously, like I'm like over here choking on my own words because I'm pointing out the hypocrisy and nobody seems to see it. Like seriously, 1080p was what it was all about. That native 1080p, right? But now, not native 4K is just as good as native 4K. How do you explain that? To me, I don't know. You know what I mean? Just and how they don't have any games, right? Like I see people in the chat going, "Oh, gorgeous games, Horizon Zero Dawn," and that game looks good. But is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? Guerrilla Games makes beautiful games, but they make crappy stories. They have terrible stories. Some of the worst stories you can ever play through. I couldn't tell you anything that goes on the Killzone because it's an embarrassment. It's the most awful things I've ever played through.
I'm not worried about
in my
a
life.
delay. Like, I'm not trying to take a personal shot at Sony in any way, but you have to really look at the history of like the games coming out lately, and there's been a lot of delays.
Yeah.
Well, there's every single PS4 game, AAA exclusive, has been delayed at least once. Every single big AAA game has been delayed. So I mean, when you look at just look at a game like what Gears 4 is doing, right? That game looks phenomenal. It looks so good that when they're showing the footage on IGN, people are assuming that it's PC footage. And they're having to confirm that it's not even Xbox One S. It's Xbox One Fat, like launch console footage, right? So that's a good looking game. You know what I mean? Yeah, it does. You know what I'm saying? And just look at Recore. That game looks really good. People were trying to like down it, but I'm super excited about that game. I think everybody. I mean, Microsoft is coming out with their games on time. I like that approach. They announced it last year. It's coming out this year. You know what I mean? I like that much better than the Quantum Break approach of announce it 4 years later, then you get it. You know what I mean? Or like the PlayStation approach, announce something and like 8 years later get it. Like, you know, who knows when the hell we're gonna see any of this stuff. Soon from Sony. I don't know. Yeah, soon. That's not soon enough. Just real quick, I wanted to go over a couple of actual Xbox things, which is. Yeah, right. Let's see. What did I want to talk about? I wanted to talk about something that Rand was talking about. Oh, achievement rarity, and is coming to Xbox One, which is actually cool. If you guys don't know what this is, like PlayStation 4 has it, and again, this is why competition is good. Like it tells you how rare a trophy is and how many people have it or whatever, right? Like, it's a very rare trophy. Only 1.4% have it or whatever, right? So now. Xbox One is getting that too, so it's going to tell you how rare these things are, or whatever. Which I will say, before this podcast, I was messing around and I was like, I desperately hate uneven gamer score, so I was like, I need to get 4 gamer score. So I was like, I'm going to mess around on that game 3s until I get a 3, and I happen to get a 33, which is good, just as good, right? And then I was like, I need that 1 now, so I played the Gear Gauntlet intro or whatever that was. I got that 1, so now I have even gaming score again, so I'm happy. But yeah, I like this idea. Also, the clubs and stuff, which I didn't get the update yet, but I hear the clubs and all that stuff is awesome. Do any of you guys have the update yet?
Yeah, sure.
I do.
I don't know if I got it. I might have got it overnight. I haven't noticed.
It's
I
cool.
got the
I already
update,
made
but
the
I don't
club.
know.
Like,
I haven't
even
used it
posted
yet.
a picture of it.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, you can jump in there, create a club, name it whatever you want to, put a gamer pick on it. You can set tags, which is really cool. So you can tell people, hey, this is an adult one, kid friendly. We use mics, all that kind of stuff. Looking for groups on there too. I don't have the update yet. She was the only one got it, and we haven't tried that yet. But I'm interested to try that with Destiny or something like that and see how that all works.
I clicked on the looking for groups, but there was no groups looking for anything. So I think it might be too new still.
How do you use the club feature? Because I have the update, but I haven't messed with it.
You have to go to the community tab, and then on the side there's a thing for clubs. You click on that, and then you can search. And
Yeah, I don't have it either. Like, I feel bad. Like, how can the crap gamer not have clubs?
I got home and I went to go play a game before the podcast, and my Xbox is like, you got a 4.1 gig update. You ain't playing shit.
Wow, if the as if it couldn't get any better, I've got I'll talk about that. Well, I wish. Man, I'm all out of Starburst, man. I don't have any. But yeah, so I think the club stuff is cool. I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys have like a console corner one or whatever already set up or whatever. So I think that's really cool. And I know this was probably I don't think it was as bad because there was actually a lot to talk about that we could talk about. I know hardware isn't like your guys' favorite subject, but this is the biggest news of the day. So
That's fine, man.
So, but we had like over 700, like 750 people watching this. That's amazing. I want to go ahead and close out the show a bit. Mooch, what do you got going on this week?
Well, buddy. Well,
Wait,
what?
Can I just? Jez actually posted something. He actually posted like torrenting on Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can like do torrents or something on Xbox One. Also, apparently, if somebody does the UWP app, you'll be able to do that Sega Nintendo
emulator.
Yeah. So hopefully somebody gets to work on that. I think
still
that
haven't figured that out because there's supposed to be there's a Game Boy Advance emulator that's supposed to be
No, it does not work.
Yeah.
Jez has already said that it's not coded. Yes, it's not coded properly. It has to be coded properly to actually work on the Xbox One.
Yeah.
But there is some apparently Tom and Jerry pirated thing that you can watch because he was watching it last night.
I hate Tom and Jerry. That show, I never.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was great. Tom and Jerry's great.
Like
that was hilarious.
Tom and Jerry is racist. No, I'm just kidding.
I just wanted to add that last point in.
All right, good stuff, She-Wolf. So, Mooch, what do you got going on? Mooch and Crap in the morning.
Mooch and Crap in the morning, Sunday. We will have a timeout to you guys soon on that. We are starting this Sunday. Jay Williams, welcome back from your family vacation. We got to get to work on Friday with that. But we do have Friday. We've got Crossfire, 6 p.m. Join me, the usual suspects, and we should have a special guest on this week. And, of course, we're going to be talking about this. And the good news is, don't think you're going to tune in Friday night and get the same thing. Trust me, oh, trust me, there's going to be plenty of gossip between now and Friday concerning this PS event. So there's going to be a lot of new stuff coming out. There's an article that just dropped right now from my buddy Ken over at Xbox, and he just said something about Microsoft's Xbox Scorpio's power difference will be very obvious. So there's a lot to talk about. We'll see you guys Friday night, 6 p.m. on my channel. Appreciate it, Crap.
And M&C Mornings, and that's going to be like, it's totally different. It's more, you guys will see it, and we'll be talking about it a lot, amping up for it, but it's going to be something completely different that's not being done right now. So hopefully you guys are all be like, hopefully it's either going to be an awesome success or a failure where nobody's going to watch.
I don't think it'll be a failure. I think what's going to happen is I think people are really going to enjoy it. We're also, a lot of people that are listening right now, shout out to our European friends, our friends from the UK and around the globe. A lot of you guys tune in, and we do these shows at night, and right now it's like 3, 4 in the morning in your respected areas. When we do this show, it'll be dead smack in the middle of your either the late morning or mid-afternoon, so you guys don't have to stay up to the wee hours of the night or catch us in the morning on a rerun. So, so I think everyone will benefit from this, and like I say, the format will be a little different, and it's very, very, very audience interactive. So this is not just you guys listening to the podcast. It's very much where the audience becomes part of the show.
Exactly. And Hammer, the newly married Hellhammer, congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Yes. So, what do you got going on? The Metallica song.
Yeah, I'll be back on here next week. Otherwise, I actually do plan on getting a video up hopefully very soon.
Oh!
Near future. I'm taking the Sony route here. I'm taking the Sony route.
Okay, so you're promising something in the future.
Oh, nice.
It could be 2008 by the time we hear something about that. So, but yeah, it was as good having you back. And Governor GKB, what's up, bro?
What's going on, man? GKB, aka the Governor. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube under Gamers Knows Best. Let's see, we got the Shop Podcast on Saturday. Gaming Night that Saturday as well. Console Corner on Tuesday. Then back on Xbox Nation on Wednesday.
What are we playing on?
Yeah, She-Wolf, what are we playing?
Game?
Okay, you heard it here first. So
we're playing some kind of game.
We're playing a game on Saturday night.
I'm debating whether to do Doom or Overwatch because it's gonna be free this weekend.
I know Mooch has Overwatch because he won it.
Well, yeah, but it's just because, Overwatch was fun to play with friends. Like, there's no denying that. So, I don't know, maybe actually getting a group. Just because it's free, just to kind of change it up, I don't know.
Yeah, we can play Overwatch. I mean, don't get me wrong. The thing about Overwatch is it's an okay game. The reason I take such a stance on the other side of the coin with it is just because there's so many people like, it's wonderful, it's great, you don't know what you're missing. No, you're lying. It's just a regular. It looks like a free. When I see Crap's latest video where he did his commentating, he had I think it was Battleborn in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, Battleborn doesn't look any. No one talks about Battleborn like it's the coming of Christ. But yet Overwatch is Overwatch is just Battleborn. You know, it's not a big deal. Everybody, so like
You can pick up Battleborn for $15.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know, or you can play Smite for free. You know, my point
Smite
being
is good.
It's just my point being is that don't ever let anyone talk you into Overwatch because it's great. When you play it, you're gonna go, it's okay. The maps are small, the characters are limited, and the strategy is not really there. There's like three or four game modes. They're all the
really
same.
Has disdain for Overwatch.
I want the consumer to know the truth.
Yeah. Hey, I'm 100% with you. I agree.
You know,
so
it's just
hey,
blah.
those watching, man, over 500 still, hit that like button if you haven't already, and then hit 1 because Xbox One. I just want to see that again real quick. And yeah, so we had a really fun time tonight, and oh wow, she posted that hilarious PS4 Pro thing that she did in the private chat.
Yeah,
she just posted it on Twitter.
Oh,
yeah.
good. I want to blast it on my speakers.
So I'm gonna retweet this, and it's Andrew House, and he's like, "Here's our new lineup," and then it's crickets afterwards. It's absolutely hilarious. Go check out my feed.
It's so good.
I love that crickets. That's basically what we heard, and I love it. Like good on Sony.
That's
and Sony, quit crying about Microsoft taking shots. Y'all are the king of shot takers. So rack them up, guys, and we will catch you guys later. Thank you all for rocking out with us today. Twice I did podcasts.
Nice work, Crap.
Yes, and we had over 750 watching the night. That's a record. Rack them up.